Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 35, the greatest film and television athletes of all time. Welcome, everybody, to the Big Chill Podcast. I want to get off and start by saying I apologize for the terrible audio I had last week. Just when Eddie finally had internet and had come back and it all looked like it was going well, I messed up my microphone and instead you heard the muffled voice of a very loud New Jersey person. So I apologize for that. And hopefully from now on, we should be pretty good with audio and be able to provide you some nice streaming content.
I'm not sure if you fixed it by threatening to get off at the start of the podcast.
Nothing starts a good podcast off by getting off.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to listen to that. That might be taking ASMR a little too far.
So today we have actually a really good episode because we're going to give our top five. I always love a good top five. Our top five best fictional TV or movie athletes. Am I saying that correctly? I don't want to say it wrong and then we get it debated.
No, that's right. But actually, this episode is going to be good for one additional reason. And that's because, kind of fitting, I guess, with the theme of TVs and movies, we have to bring one long-running podcast arc to its conclusion. Because I do officially have the internet.
Wow.
Wait.
My own 100% functioning internet in my apartment in my name.
So you're not rinsing your next door neighbor dry at the moment?
Well, I am in other ways, but not his internet.
See, I like that Eddie did this because before we got on the podcast, Sam and I had both said, oh, your internet seems to be doing better. Like it's not cutting at all. It's not choppy because you had been sucking the life and soul out of your neighbor above you.
Only for 2 days.
Well, now he's dead. You've sucked his soul dead in 2 days.
It was actually like a 20-year-old man, and now he looks like he's 77.
He's like Benjamin Button in reverse.
So normal.
Yeah, it's an office joke.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Mean, I don't think I've ever had to congratulate someone on getting a basic amenity installed, but well done.
What you should really congratulate me on is my dedication to the content of this podcast, because my internet has been working since 9:30 this morning, and I did not say anything to anyone, so I could save it for this reveal. And in addition to that, I didn't switch my Xbox on because I didn't want Sam to potentially see that I was active. I made sure that this would be a surprise reveal for the two of you. So that was the real dedication.
And hey, don't forget our 5 listeners. They are probably like punching the air right now in excitement. They're so pumped for you, Eddie.
I mean, legitimately, we have more than 5 listeners, but we do have 5 listeners who, after every episode, inquire about my internet situation. So for those 5, I think they'll feel like this is a collective success.
They can breathe a sigh of relief now.
What did you do first when the internet turned on, Eddie?
Well, we just said we're not going to talk about me getting off in the beginning of the podcast. So
if you want to know, the first thing I did is I broke my internet. So the way this happened was at 8:45 this morning, I got a phone call from a random mobile French number, picked up, and it was a guy, and he said, "Is your internet working?" And I said, "No, it's not." And he said, "Oh, I'm a technician with Free, and I've just switched your line on. Is your internet box working?" And I said, "Oh, I've unplugged it. I'll plug it in. Call me back in like 10 minutes, and I'll let you know if it's working." Plugged it in. It worked. He was happy. He then weirdly he went, "Okay, I'll come upstairs and take a photo of it." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, I've been downstairs working on the line. I'll come upstairs and take a picture so that we know the box is working." So in his original phone call, he'd kept this a secret. I thought he was just remotely had flicked a switch. And he came up, and in the time it took him to come up, I was like, "Wow, this is painful. This sort of generic Wi-Fi password is 45 characters long. I'm going to change the password." Changed the password, and it stopped working. So by the time he got upstairs, he was like, "Yeah, it's all working, right?" And I was like, "Not anymore. I changed the password, and it's broken now. I can't. It's not showing up on my list of networks."
Was he pissed?
And he was like, "Oh, okay, I know what you did." So then he
I know what you did. You're an idiot. That's what you did.
You changed the password. I just told you.
Yeah.
MacGyver.
So we went into the settings and eventually got it fixed. It did take about 20 minutes while he just kind of awkwardly stood there while I played with the internet settings. But apart from that, since then it's worked relatively smoothly.
Was he a racist like your last technician?
No, he wasn't white, so it would have been a more surprising twist had he been ranting about my race, for example. I would have let him do it, but
we went through this before. You would have let them do anything as long as you were provided internet at the end of the scenario.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh man,
that's it. We've got nothing to talk about in this podcast now.
I can wrap it up.
Podcast is over.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually trying to think how far ago this started. There must have been about 20 episodes.
Yeah. Well, it started officially for me. My internet was stopped working in my old apartment on August 26th. So I have gone nearly
the NFL season.
Yeah. I've gone nearly 3 complete months. 1 week shy. I should have said, no, please. I'm keeping track of this. If you could just switch it off for another week, that way I'd like the round number, please.
It's actually why we called it the Big Chill Podcast, because Eddie was back in the ice age with no internet. Now that he's got it, we might as well have to rename the podcast.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, we've got backups here. You can get off on Soup Juice.
Now we can officially go to Soup Juice. All right, yeah. So I think we're going to have some pretty good arguments about the top 5. So let's save that and let's go through our picks first for this week, because this will be pretty easy for me. I think I'm going to just give you, all straight winners so we can get through it pretty quickly. I can get back on the top of the leaderboard here.
Oh, your current form does not suggest this will be the case.
Everyone has a bad game, all right?
2 things. 1, that would obviously, so your plan is to do the complete opposite of last week. And 2, when you say get back on top of the leaderboard, you've literally never been on top of the leaderboard.
At one point we were at 0-0. We were all tied for first before week 1.
On top? I mean,
Eddie.
I mean, alphabetically, I guess by last name you would have been top, but by first name you wouldn't have been.
Well, we all know my name's boring, so maybe by the boringness of my name, I would have been first.
So, all right, Eddie, do you want to give us a lowdown on what happened last week with our?
You can just skip that. Let's just go to the
I mean, obviously we kind of went over it quickly in the last episode. The good news is we all picked the Vikings Monday Night Football with the spread and just to win, obviously. So we all ended on a high. So that was good at least. Now, watching that game was not ending on a high. We'll probably talk about that later, but that was one of the most miserable offensive performances I've ever seen from the Chicago Bears. And speaking of miserable performances, that meant that Frank finished 4-9-1 for the week against the spread, 7-7 straight up. I went 10-4 straight up, 8-5-1 against the spread, and
Yikes.
Sammy went 8-6 straight up and 7-6-1 against the spread. So I
Eddie
kind of
is pulled clear now.
Yeah, I've kind of stretched my lead. I'm 13 games ahead straight up. So that's going to be difficult to close the gap.
I've seen a lead like that.
I saw a lead
right? Like that in week 4. These leads can go.
Yeah, seven games ahead against the spread. You and Sam, the two of you are dead level again on the spread. So
after I just ripped into him last week about how it's a 2-man race.
Yeah, so you can either call it joint second or joint last, whichever you prefer.
Joint second. You and I are going to turn into the Breeze Brady. Who's picking who? All right. All right, we need to claw some stuff back on Eddie here. So should we get into it?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Or do you want to talk about somehow the Bears getting worse on offense first?
We'll probably discuss it with.
They have a bye.
Oh, they have a bye, so
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, that's true.
Thank God.
Okay, let's.
We could just
Yeah.
we don't have to talk about it. That's a good thing. Hey, we've got a good one to open up with starting soon, haven't we? We've got the divisional game. So Cardinals are the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are 3-point favorites. Who wants to open up?
I'll go for it. I'm sure Frank maybe has more thoughts, seeing as the Arizona Cardinals are his team. This is such a tricky one to call in the sense that they're both kind of inconsistent. Neither one of them is good defensively. They're both pretty explosive offensively. So I think almost any scenario is in play here. So, and I don't think either team could even feel comfortable unless they stretch a lead to sort of 18 plus points. I don't think either one will feel comfortable with any advantage that they have until very late in the game. That being said, I feel like I've got to stick to my rule, which is take a good team after a defeat. And I'm going to just about classify the Seahawks as a good team. I'm also going to, these are not good reasons. I'm also going to assume that the Cardinals have maybe used up their luck for a while. And I think this might just be the game where they kind of come back to earth a tiny bit. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to win and cover the spread.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, Eddie, you've put it perfectly. You have two teams that are just so up and down, and sometimes their offense looks like they're going to put up 60, and then sometimes their offense looks like they're going to put up 15, 20. And then at the other end of the side, you have two defenses that seem to struggle. And the annoying part is they struggle when it matters. The classic example there would be the Cardinals, even last week against the Bills. So a lot of people who will be taking the Seahawks right now would say, oh, the Cardinals got lucky. They won on a Hail Mary. They shouldn't even won that game. They should be 5-4. Yeah, okay, you could say that, but then I could take one step back and say, well, you know what? They've actually should have won that game to begin with before the Hail Mary, because they shouldn't have let Josh Allen drive down the field in about a minute to get the game to where it was, to where they were losing. So to me, that's that inconsistency in their defense, where all they needed to do is just get one good stop on Josh Allen there, and they just could not do it. And luckily Murray and DeAndre Hopkins bailed them out, but this is a very tough one. I mean, and they played each other, what was that, 3 weeks ago? And that was a game that went to overtime, and that was a game that was back and forth. Either team could have won that game. And I have to say, this is not a great game to bet, but hopefully it's as fun to watch as the last one was, because they are entertaining games when you have, Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray just going back and forth like that. I'm going to stick with the Cardinals to win, and I'll take them with the +3. I think the 3 could be a swing there. That seems to be a decent amount for the Cardinals, who have won by 2, lost by 3, won by 3 in their last 3 games. So they're keeping it pretty close against good teams. So I'll stick with that, and I'll just keep them to win just because, I want my free Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
I like the end reasoning there as well. Let's throw everything out the window for coffee. I think you two have put it pretty well with the defenses here. But the thing is, Wilson in the last 2 weeks has put up 7 interceptions. So he'll need to clean up his game if they're going to beat the Cardinals. They probably could, and you don't see a reason why they couldn't. But interesting fact is the Cardinals this season are 4-0 when they've forced 2 or more takeaways. And they did that against the Seahawks last time out. And with the inconsistency with Wilson at the moment, I think that takeaways could be the interceptions, takeaways could be the thing here. So I'm going to take the Cardinals as well. And obviously to cover.
Now, are you a little surprised that the over-under is 57? I mean, that's a high over-under, yeah. But I still think that's kind of low, to be honest.
I saw 57.5. Yeah.
I mean, you can't go much higher than that.
They put up 71 last time they played.
Sure.
Yeah,
but
I know. You can't. I understand. I mean, when I saw that, I thought, wow, that's high, 57. And then I really thought about it and said, well, is it really that high for these two teams? I mean, the Cardinals went 62 last week against Buffalo, and I'd expect a similar game there.
Plus, the other reason why you can't go much higher anyway is because I'm going to say people like you, but people are going to time. So if you start getting to 62, 63, well, obviously you're going to just add 7, 8 points. And I'm not going to say it's a gimme then, but if you're starting to get you're taking the under 69.5 points, under 70 points, I think you feel you're going to have a chance in that game until very late. Let's put it that way. Even if you're not going to be at halftime being like, oh, my under is screwed here. I mean, you forgot one. You talked about how you could spin the Cardinals as being both lucky and unlucky last week. You did kind of forget 2 points, which is they were down 23-9 or whatever. So, okay, they gave up the late touchdown to go behind, but they did have to actually have a good fourth quarter comeback to get in that position. And also using your own logic about how you view your performance in the pick contest, they were also winning when they were 0-0. So they started the game in front and they finished the game in front, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. So I teased this game. I always like to tease the Thursday. So I went Cards +9 and over 51, where I know I'm jinxing myself now by saying it, but I feel like that's a pretty good bet right there. I think they can get over 51 combined, and I think +9, you'd have to have a pretty good blowout there. So expect the Seahawks to win by 20. 21-0.
I'm furious. You can't see it, but I'm furious.
The over seems good. I don't know if I'd necessarily say like +9 is really great. I mean, I don't expect the Seahawks to win by more than 9 points, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't think you can be if the Seahawks win by 15. I don't think you could be like, no one saw this coming. I mean, they're a team that's scored points for fun at times this year, and the Cardinals have, at times failed to play anything resembling NFL defense. So who knows what will happen? But like you said, at least it should be a fun game, which sometimes Thursday Night Football is not. So at least it's got that going for it.
All right. Next up is the Falcons at the Saints, and the Saints are 4.5 point favorites. Last time I saw, I didn't see if Winston or Hill was starting. Have you seen anything about who's starting for?
They haven't
Saints?
Announced it.
Still haven't announced. I mean, for me, I still think the Saints, whoever starts, have got plenty of offense, and I still think this will be a Saints win, even with the slight Falcons resurgence that we're seeing at the moment. So I'm still going the Saints and to cover this, whomever plays. I don't think there's that much difference between the two.
I mean, my assumption is that they're not really going to announce who starts, that Winston, in a sense, will be under center to start the game, but they're going to use Hill in the same way they've used him even when Breeze is starting, which is he comes in certain scenarios, and maybe he'll come in more frequently now that Breeze is out. And if Winston is terrible, then maybe he takes over. But my guess is they're going to use them as a kind of platoon, which will be interesting to watch. I mean, fundamentally, right, I've spent the year saying that Drew Brees looks like his arm fell off in the offseason. So I kind of see, part of me feels like this might be an upgrade for the Saints. Winston, it's hard to like him sometimes because he's just such an idiot. I mean, even a couple weeks ago when he, on camera multiple times, like ate the W again, which was a weird, I mean, part of me kind of likes the idea that he did this embarrassing thing and now he's embracing it. But at the same time, I don't know if he necessarily is in on the joke to the degree that he needs to be doing that again. But I'm going to take the Saints. I don't think that I don't love it. I would stay away from this game, but I'm going to take the Saints to win and cover the spread.
Yeah. So I agree with you on Breeze not looking like he used to look like. I cannot say that Jameis Winston is an upgrade.
Just so everyone knows, Frank now knows that that's not how you say his name, but spent a very long time saying his name that way. And now is a little bit like Winston has done it with eating the W. Frank has turned that into a joke of his own, but it started his very genuine thing.
Yeah. The other thing I will argue against, by all reports, Winston does seem like a genuinely nice person. I've seen multiple ESPN articles about how he does a ton of charity work. His big thing when he was at Tampa Bay was he would go around and he knew every person's name that worked in the stadium. And I mean, even up to like the janitor that was cleaning, he would know their name. He would know about them. He would have conversations with everyone. And it's a really nice thing to see, you know, when you have a really high draft pick like that, who comes into the NFL, he could be that stereotypical asshole, but he seemed by all accounts to be a genuine person and a nice person. So I would hate him on the side of, he's just so erratic on the field. When you're throwing 30 interceptions in a year, that's very annoying to have to support someone.
I've got one question for you though. Was he nice to the janitor that wasn't cleaning?
Yeah, this is my point. I was like, was it the janitor who was cleaning? What about the janitor who was offensive coordinator?
Yeah. As long as you had a mop in your hand, yeah, Jameis Winston is your friend.
And if you didn't have a mop in your hand, Jameis Winston was still your friend.
Yeah, depending.
No, if you didn't have a wop, oh dear,
oh dear, we've just gone full in.
I have one.
All of us on Parlor.
Oh man, I can't wait till the Washington Wops start playing their games.
Wow. So for me, I'm going to go against it here. I'm going to go with the Falcons. And I have one not so great reason, the fact that they're actually really good against the bye. So last year off of the bye, they beat the Saints. And I think they can do the same this year off of the bye. With the fact being, when you have Breeze out, you know they're going to be relying on Kamara. They're going to get Alvin Kamara the ball at least 30 times this game.
Wait, are you sure? Because they now have a quarterback who can throw over 8 yards.
You think they're going to let you think they're going to let Jameis Winston throw the ball and potentially it's either a completion or an interception?
I admire you for sticking to this. And I'm part of me is like, can you say his name properly, Frank?
Yeah, I've actually forgotten it now.
Jameis.
You were not sure there. You said that so slowly. Jameis. But I don't know. I mean, yes, I think Kamara will be heavily involved in their offense, and I'm sure that they'll be conservative in moments, but I don't see any reason to expect. Sean Payton's not a coach who's afraid of going for things, right? This is a guy who famously started a second half of a Super Bowl with an onside kick. So he is not a conservative football coach. I see no reason why, now that Winston will have had a week, taking a lot of snaps in practice, I see no reason why that they'll just be using him to hand the ball off.
I mean, not just hand the ball off, but I think a lot of their passing game is going to go through Kamara with short passes, dump offs. I don't think he's going to ask Winston to go deep downfield. I mean, you're right. He is a pretty aggressive play caller, but even this year as a whole, he hasn't asked Breeze to even go deep. So I don't get
why
all of a sudden.
No, Frank, he has. Some of those 7-yard passes, those were instructions for Breeze to go deep. Breeze just doesn't have the arm to go deep fundamentally, and I think they've adapted their play calling based on that fact. If anything, to me, this is a week when Michael Thomas, who obviously missed several weeks because of injury and maybe because he punches teammates and doesn't listen to coaches.
You found out is an asshole later on.
Yeah, as it turns out, has a history of this. I think this is the week, possibly, you could see him getting... I mean, look, the Falcons secondary is atrocious. Like, that's why they aren't good this year, fundamentally.
Yeah, ranked 31st.
So, to me, this is a week where they would have prepped for it. They would have thought this is a nice way to get Winston sort of fully involved and to make him feel comfortable and to get Michael Thomas more involved. And so I think he might throw some picks because it's what Jameis Winston does, but I think he'll put up yards and he'll throw touchdown passes because that's also what Jameis Winston does.
So, Frank, you're taking the Falcons and cover, yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for some upsets here. I'm either gonna bridge the gap or increase the gap. So
Let's find out. All right, next up, Bengals at Washington, and Washington are 1 point favorites. I mean, for me, this is Burrow bounce back territory. When you look at the thing with the Bengals is that when you actually look at them, yeah, they're not great, but the two big blowout losses that they've had are the Steelers and Ravens. I mean, there's not that much shame in that. Against a good defense, they put up 27 against the Colts, still threw 300 yards. Burrow kind of averages around 250, 300. He's pretty consistent, but also they've just got loads of players that move the chains as well, like Mixon. And they've got, I don't know, I just think even though Washington have good pass defense, but the Bengals have a pretty good run game as well. So I'm going with the Bengals on this one. I think they'll bounce back and they'll cover. Even if they lose, it's going to be extremely close, but the +1 doesn't really give me any leeway there. But I still think I still like the Bengals in this one.
yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I don't get what everyone sees in Washington. I mean, one, they're a 2-win team. Second of all, one of their wins is against Dallas when Dallas was absolutely in the shithole. And they've lost to teams that aren't that great, and they've lost pretty badly to good teams. They lost by like 20 or something to the Rams. Whereas you look at the Bengals, and yeah, they're 2-6 as well, but at least besides this last game against the Steelers, they're pretty competitive. They were competitive against the Browns. They were competitive against the Colts. They've beaten the Titans. So I don't get this spread. I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be crazy the other way, but maybe, just a pick 'em, I think is what it should be. So, I mean, with that, I'll take the Bengals over Washington, with the, obviously, to win and with the points. The interesting thing here is you have two number one drafted QBs going against each other 15 years apart. That's pretty crazy. I wonder if there's a bigger discrepancy that's ever happened of two number ones.
Possibly not. Could be a really good stat. Like, it would be nice if we knew it for sure, but you're right. Like, there is.
Do you want me to dig deep and then we can break the stat?
I mean, I guess. It's
maybe
tough to
Peyton at the end versus a different number one QB probably could be the difference.
Yeah.
I think this is the first and second pick in last season's draft as well, wasn't it? Because it's Burrows and then Chase Young.
And that to me is the key matchup. Yeah. Is the pass rush, the Washington pass rush against this Cincinnati Bengals team that has failed to protect Burrow. And at times he is just in all sorts of trouble and has no time. So to me, that's where this game is going to be won and lost. I'm not surprised by the spread because fundamentally it might have shifted a little bit this year because of the lack of home field advantage, but the home team gets 3 points. So Washington being a 1-point favorite at home fundamentally means that they think the Bengals are the better team. I'm gonna give Alex Smith the chance. This is going to be the storyline. This is Alex Smith completing his comeback by beating the number one overall pick from this year's draft. And I'm doing it only not so much because of Alex Smith, but I do think they're going to get pressure on Joe Burrow. And
we know Burrow doesn't like scary things.
Also true. So if Alex Smith flashes his leg a few times, if he's scared,
more like some Victorian lady lifting up her dress kind of thing.
If he's scared of house, imagine yeah.
I mean, also Alex Smith, right? He has to wear this because he has drop foot, so he has to wear this brace just so that he can play, and he's constantly tweaking it to try and improve its performance. So if Joe Burrow just sees him in the pregame warmup, like playing with his brace a little bit, the house flashbacks are going to be extreme. There was obviously the Sam Darnold quote from last year when he said, I'm seeing ghosts out there when they were playing against the Patriots. Might get something similar from Joe Burrow. He's going to be on the sideline. I'm seeing a house out there.
So you're taking Washington, yeah?
Yeah. Don't feel confident about it. I'm going to completely stay away from this game. I'm probably going to watch. This is my under a minute of weekly consumption, even with the internet now, even though I'm going to have the possibility of having every game on at the same time. I'm not going to waste any of my bandwidth on this one.
or your neighbors.
Actually,
You
maybe,
just,
maybe
log into your. I'm gonna down my own internet. Log into
no.
theirs.
Just this game is so bad that I would just to drain his energy a little bit more. I'm going to use one device to log into his network and just stream this game.
Nothing like sucking the soul out of a person by streaming a team formerly known as the Redskins.
Yeah, soon to be known as the Washington Wops.
The Wops. All right. Lions at the Panthers, and Panthers are 1.5 point favorites. You two might have information on this one as well, but Stafford is expected to play, right? And is Bridgewater expected to play? I haven't seen it from earlier, but anything else confirmed recently?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard much except that they're both injured, but they'll both likely play. And I don't know which one's the worst injury because, Bridgewater has been scrambling a lot to keep them into the plays. So obviously a knee injury is going to be costly, but then you have Stafford has his throwing thumb is injured. So that's obviously going to be a huge.
Bridgewater is unlikely to play.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that means Stafford is expected to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fundamentally, I mean, it really doesn't change who I'm going to pick. So,
I mean, they've both got pretty bad defenses, right? So, it doesn't really change too much. But I don't know. Who are you going for anyway? Because I'm torn on this one. I think I've got this allegiance problem with the Panthers that I've backed them more often than not, and I keep getting stung when I bet them, and then they keep covering when I don't. So. I don't know what you think.
What's the spread that you have? What are we going to go with?
1.5 in favor of the Panthers.
Okay. I'll take the Lions straight up, and then I'll take the Lions with the points as well. I don't have much of a reason. I don't – like you said, both these teams have kind of just been screwing me over week after week. But, I do think the Lions are the better team here. So I'll stick with the Lions.
I'm going to do the same. I don't think anyone could possibly say the Lions are the better team. But if Terry Bridgewater, yeah, well, we've got a track record we can look back on that shows you deciding which team is the better team. It's not very accurate. But assuming Terry Bridgewater doesn't play, it's difficult for me to think that the Panthers will win this game, and that is also kind of assuming that Matthew Stafford does play. He practiced today. So on that basis, I'm going to assume if he practiced on a Thursday, he will play on the Sunday. And so, yeah, I'm going to pick the Lions.
I mean, surely that 1.5 line is factoring in that Bridgewater may not play. So they're probably going with the fact that they still consider the Panthers favorites. And I'm trying to think at this point, like on these marginal games, is this where I need to sometimes swing the other way to try and get that pick back? Because this is a complete toss-up for me. Maybe I'm more inclined to go with the better coaching side of the Panthers, I feel. I'm going to go Panthers. I don't say that with much confidence or much rationale, but yeah. All right. Next up is the Patriots at the Texans, and the Patriots are 2-point favorites.
Oh, I'll start it off. Patriots are 1-3 on the road, only win against the Jets. It's time for Deshaun Watson to put the team on his back. And beat the facade that is what everyone thinks a decent Patriots team.
I think every week I say the word really once, and it is this moment every week. Are you really?
Patriots have the third worst pass defense going up against the sixth best QB rated quarterback. And I honestly still can't trust the Patriots because of one crappy weather win against the Ravens.
I mean,
look, that element is fine, but this is what bothers me sometimes when you make these picks with the Texans involved. You're like, well, I can't trust the Patriots because they beat a playoff team in terrible weather conditions, and I can't beat them because they struggled to beat I can't trust them because they struggled to beat the Jets, or because they lost to this team or that team. And then it's like, but you're going to trust the Texans, who week in, week out, get their absolute asses handed to them by whoever they play. And somehow they're consistently being terrible means that you can't poke holes in them, because if one thing, they're at least predictable. And two things, like we could take the Benjamin Franklin quote and like the things that are guaranteed in life. And at the moment, the only two things guaranteed in your life right now, Frank, are that you're going to predict the Texans will win and the Texans will lose.
Hey, just like 2 weeks ago.
I mean, Frank, to be honest, considering our closeness in the overalls at the moment, take the Texans. I'm all for it, because for me, I think the Patriots have turned a bit of a corner over the last 3 games. Good win against the Ravens last week. I don't think Cam has thrown a pick in the last couple of games. They've got this outside shot now with the playoffs. What is that? I think I saw 9.8% their chance. I don't know. There's some momentum there. They're playing a bit better. Things are a bit more stabilized. I actually think the -2 is lighter than I thought. I thought this would have been around kind of 4 or 5. So for me, the Patriots, I thought this was quite an easy one, but one back on Frank, I'd like to think. Eddie?
I don't think it's easy, in the sense that the Texans do retain this element of talent, and the Patriots have been reasonably unpredictable. So that's me getting as close to Frank's opinion as I could possibly get. That being said,
thank you. Appreciate it.
I think you can dismiss the Patriots' kind of 2 really disappointing performances as being potentially COVID related. And so, yes, the weather conditions played in their favor on Sunday night, and I don't think they would have beaten the Ravens in normal conditions. I think that's for sure. But they're a much better team, and they seem to be figuring themselves out a bit when you look at how Harris is becoming involved in their offense. And on that basis, I just don't know. I mean, let's also not forget, this is Bill Belichick against the Texans. And Bill Belichick has nearly made a career out of just beating the Texans. I mean, he's probably
but that's when Bill O'Brien was the coach.
He's probably disappointed that the Texans are they're so incompetent that they're going to deny him his usual January treat of playing them and beating them in the first round of the playoffs. This is probably the thing that's going to bother him, and this is going to guarantee that he sees this as his kind of fake playoff game and just goes in and absolutely shellacks them. So I'm taking the Patriots.
All right. Eagles at the Browns. And the Browns are 3-point favorites.
Every week we talk about a team that we think doesn't get enough respect in the line. I'm trying to figure out how the Browns are only 3-point favorites in this game. I know that they put up virtually no points last week. I know they haven't looked great over the course of this season, but I don't know how anyone watched the Eagles play last Sunday and thinks, yeah, I think they're only 3-point underdogs against what is clearly going to be a playoff team. Now, that being said, maybe my confidence in the Eagles losing have probably peaked for this game and the Niners game. So read into that what you will. So there's every chance yet again the Eagles figure things out just in time. I thought they would win last week, they thoroughly let me down. I think that they'll lose this week. They'll probably thoroughly let me down again. But I just think that the Browns will run all over them, control the clock, and also they have Myles Garrett is going to get pressure on Nick Foles, and you're just going to see Nick Foles scrambling in the backfield, mentally deficient as he is, according to some NFL executives, as Frank found out.
So has Nick Foles been traded back to the Eagles?
Sorry. Carson Wentz.
Ruined that joke.
Yeah. I bet you right now they wish he had been traded back.
Yeah. I mean, he has the most turnovers in the league.
Even with his broken hip, or even if he had his broken hip, I think they'd rather take Nick Foles with one hip over Carson Wentz and one brain cell.
I mean, the thing with the Eagles, right, is that this, in their division, if they want to win it, this is the game, right? Because I think their next 3 are the Cardinals, Saints, and Packers, right? So they're losing those 3. So is this the game where out of those 4, they say, if we're going to do anything, really, this is the one.
You say this, Sam, but this week I looked because I was like trying to look at interesting divisional bets. And so I was looking through all of the current divisional odds, and I got to the NFC East, and I was surprised to see that the Eagles are still relatively heavy favorites to win that division. And I guess that's more because there's absolutely no faith in the Giants to continue to win football games. But then I looked at the Eagles' schedule and thought, in all likelihood, they're losing their next 4 games. So it starts to become difficult to see how they're going to win the division unless they're going to get some upsets. And it's difficult to see how a team that's this bad can upset anyone.
Well, on the other side, though, the Giants, if I were being very, very optimistic, have 3 more wins in them with their schedule. So can Philly win 2 of their next 6 games?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, here's the interesting thing.
Nail biter.
Here's the interesting thing is no one in that division is being ruled out. The Cowboys are the longest odds to win that division. They are 8-1.
I mean, you're looking at I would say 5-11 wins this. Either 5-11 or what are the Eagles? 5-10-1. 5-10-1 might win that division.
Yeah. But they are 2-3 to win the division. They are significantly odds on.
I'll tell you what, though, like, I actually agree with you, Eddie, about the Browns. They should win this one. But you know what? I have this gut feeling with the Eagles that this is one of those win ugly games, because I appreciate the Browns have had like bad weather in the last couple, which probably explains the low scores. But if it is the case that the Browns aren't scoring at the moment, then it just gives the Eagles that slight capacity to not have to put many on the board to sneak a win. It just, I don't know, like, it's just one of those win ugly things. But it's really tough not to go with the Browns on just a field goal. I think that's the problem here.
Let's just take you're right. Just thinking about this division again. So the Eagles have the Browns. Let's say they lose. They have the Seahawks. Let's say they lose. They have the Packers. Let's say they lose. They have the Saints. Let's say they lose. They have the Cardinals. Let's say they lose. And then, okay, they have the Cowboys and Washington. So 2 divisional games against 2 bad teams. They need to win both of those. And they also need that all the other teams in their division have been bad for the remainder. On the other hand, the Washington play the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Niners, the Seahawks, the Panthers, and then the Eagles. That to me seems like Washington have a far better chance of, say, winning 4 games, which I think would, assuming the Eagles win 2, right? That puts Washington in first place.
Yep. And then the Giants have Bengals. Let's give them a win, even though I think that will be a close game. Seahawks loss, Cardinals loss, Browns loss, Ravens loss, Cowboys. Let's give them a win. That's 2. So you, at a max, they're at what, 5-11. Maybe they get really lucky and can beat the Browns to go 6-10. That's a very optimistic turnout for the Giants. Would be 6-10.
Yeah, and we're basically saying the kind of positive outlook on Washington is probably 6-10. The positive outlook on the Eagles is probably 5 wins. They maybe get to 6. And then you look at the Cowboys, they've got the Vikings, probably a loss. They then play Washington, so okay, let's say they can win that. They play the Ravens, loss. They play the Bengals, be kind and say they can win that. They play the Niners, let's say they can win that. And then the Eagles and the Giants. So the Cowboys, I'd say their max is 6 more wins.
Yeah, but
unlikely, but that's like.
I mean, I have to count the Cowboys out right now without Prescott.
It's just difficult to look at this and see why the Eagles are 2-3 favorites. I mean
they still score though, right? I mean, okay, granted they lost to the Giants, but you know, I'm just looking at it now. They put 28 against the Ravens, 29 against the Steelers. They won 23. Dallas, 22 Giants. They put 25 against the 49ers.
I mean, I think they're I think they're favored because people still have this idea about the Eagles that when it comes down to it, they can win games when it matters, and they can kind of climb back into to races and things like that. I think that's the reputation people have. Whether they can do that this year, I don't know, because Wentz has never looked worse. I mean, he just looks bad right now. And I don't know. So for me, this is a tough one because, I mean, I've said it numerous times and Eddie rips on me. I don't think the Browns are as good as their record indicates. You go through their schedule and they beat the Texans, which, I mean, they're a great team, the Texans, but that's probably their best win of the year. Then, lost to the Raiders, just beat the Bengals, thromped by the Steelers, and beat the Colts. The Colts.
What is?
I don't know what are these words.
Thromped is look it up. Look it up.
Sounds awful.
I mean, their win of the year is against the Colts, so
pretty good win. Let's be fair.
I would love to go against them, but I cannot trust the Eagles. I mean, it's too risky. It's too risky.
I'm just putting it out there. I think I've talked myself into having a little dabble on Washington to win that division.
It's not the worst.
Especially now that they've got the power of the Wops behind them. I mean,
just going on it though, I think what helps with this one is just the line. It's just, if it was just that tiny bit longer, I'd start to think of that Eagles kind of winning ugly. Like, this is kind of when they need to win something out of the next 5, and this is probably the one. So, but still, I just can't back them. I can't trust them. So I'll take the Browns as well and to cover. So that's all 3 of us, yeah? Taking the Browns?
Yep.
Okay. Next up, Steelers at the Jags, and the Steelers are 10-point favorites. Anyone going against it? Anyone thinking are the Jags going to cover the spread here?
I'll be quick. Mike Tomlin has been asked about this week, this is looks on paper the perfect trap game, because it is an unbeaten Steelers team against a very bad Jags team, and the Steelers play the Ravens next week. So there's every reason to think they're going to have one eye on the Ravens. I'll avoid any Game of Thrones references there. But
nice one.
I know. I didn't watch the show, but I could still pull that one out now. But
all right, Brian.
But there's every reason to think that. I liked Mike Tomlin's. He was dismissive of it. I don't know, Frank, did you see his quote about the trap game? And Frank, we talked about it during the week. I think the Steelers will feel like they've got a point to prove here, that they're going 16-0 with everyone still kind of doubting them a little bit. I think they'll be talking to themselves every day, looking at it like, let's look at our not the odds themselves, but just the kind of conversation going on. Let's look at the Super Bowl odds. Let's look at Big Ben's MVP odds. Let's look at all these things and look at how people are not respecting us, even though we're the only undefeated team in the league. And I think they'll be on a mission to have that 16-0. Also, Big Ben threatens to retire every season. I bet you in his mind, he's thinking, if I can go 16-0 and win the Super Bowl, I'm bowing out. And this is how I go out.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the Steelers. The points themselves, just because the Steelers have been a little bit sort of taking it kind of like I've said about the Chiefs. They've taken a little bit easy on teams at times this season. The spread work concerns me slightly, but I'm still going to take the Steelers because I'm not going to make the same mistake that I kind of make all the time, which is taking the points and then watching the Steelers win by 20.
Yeah. I mean, there's 2 ways of looking at it, right, as well, because the Steelers obviously had that wobble against the Cowboys on a tough spread, but also the Jags covered a tough spread against Green Bay as well last time out. So the 10 is a bit concerning. I know Luton makes it more competitive in the last couple of games. What have they It took the Packers pulling something late out to beat them, and just going down to the Texans. I'm not sure how much that matters, but I don't know. I'm taking the Steelers to win. It's just this 10 that worries me.
I will say this: my only other thought on the game. You mentioned Luton kind of being competent there. Anyone who was worried that the Packers were going to ruin their survivor pick last week, so anyone like Frank or any money line bets that they had, there was a lot of reason to be concerned throughout that game until you got to see Luton just look absolutely awful in the final few possessions. Yeah. And also in particular on the final drive, just the back-to-back sacks. I've not seen a lot from him for me to think that he is an NFL quarterback that I'm going to be scared of.
The problem is as well, I look at the week of games, and there's some bigger spreads coming up later that I'm getting a team to I'm taking the underdog to cover. So I'm inclined to probably say that I'll take the Steelers how they looked against the Bengals rather than the Steelers against how they looked against the Cowboys. So I'm going to take the Steelers and cover.
I agree with everything Eddie said 100%, except it's still a trap game. I agree. I've heard what Tomlin said. I agree with, Big Ben trying to make this a 16-0 season. They feel like they've been slighted, but it's still a trap game. You have a team who's coming off of a loss where they're going to, even though they lost, in that locker room, they felt pretty good about themselves, almost taking down Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. They're now coming home, have the undefeated team to play. This is basically their Super Bowl. This is as close as they're going to be able to get to have a meaningful victory and feel really good about an absolute shit season. I have to think they're going to be all in here. My worry is exactly what Eddie said, is Luton is no good. I mean, maybe he gets lucky here and his 1 week progression is astonishing, but now you're going up against the Steelers and Watt and a very formidable pass rush. It's going to be scary for him. I did not take the Steelers as my survivor pick this week. I took them once. I got lucky they won. I'm not going to do it again. The Steelers know how I feel about them, and they are definitely out to get me. So I've not taken them this week. With that, coupled with the fact of it being a trap game, and I'd love to see the Steelers lose because I'm sure tons of people are taking them in a survivor. I'll take the Jaguars with the points, but I'll stick with the Steelers on the money line.
My prediction, Luton and the Jags get absolutely thromped.
Now, do you know what thromped means? Did you look up the definition I said?
We got.
I mean, I read what you sent us. Yes.
It's always good. It's always good when the definition is from Urban Dictionary.
So, for anyone to save you all the time of now typing this into your browser or your smartphone, the Urban Dictionary definition of thromped is the middle ground between thrash and pump, a euphemism for hardcore sex.
Could you put that in context, please, Eddie?
I think I did. The Steelers are going to absolutely thromp.
No. I want the context in the chat that has just been posted.
Oh, no, because that context doesn't come from Urban Dictionary. That context comes from Frank, I believe.
No, that's Urban Dictionary. That's what they put.
Oh, that is actually.
Well, you think Frank? You think that Frank wrote that?
Yeah.
Maybe it's in the wrong chat.
So,
the Urban Dictionary example.
Context was, man, I like to thrump that ass. But here's the thing: is you said thromped, not thrump.
Thrumped.
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. Yeah.
You said thromped with an O.
Yeah.
Not to thrump. We'll give it to you. It's close enough, but you said thromped.
But just don't do it again.
No, it's okay.
No. But all right, for reference though, I think it's spelled wrong in it because I'm looking up the definition of thrump. So the definition of thrump, when they use the word, they typed it as thrump.
Wow, I just love that we've got to go down an Urban Dictionary rabbit hole on the podcast.
Nothing better than an Urban Dictionary rabbit hole.
There's always a lot of credibility in a dictionary that spells it wrong in the definition.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw this out. It's a pretty interesting stat I found. So the Steelers are the first 10-0 team since 2015. There's only 26 teams that have ever begun a season with 10 straight wins. Of those 26, 6 went undefeated for the regular season, 5 finished with just 1 loss, 9 finished with 2 losses, and 5 finished with 3 losses. The worst 10-0 team ever to finish was the 2015 Patriots, who went 12-4. But that was pretty cool. Only 26 teams. Since 2015 is the first team. I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, it is a little bit surprising. If you'd asked me to guess, I would have thought that someone had done it more recently.
All right. Next up is the Titans Ravens, and Ravens are 5.5 point favorites.
This has to be that matchup that on paper, like several weeks ago or at the beginning of the season, looked amazing, and then now it's just starting to look decidedly mediocre.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was the AFC divisional playoff last season, right?
Yeah, but even at the start of the year, both of them looked really good. I kind of don't know how to read this game because the Titans seem to be a different team almost every week. The only thing consistent about them is that they can't play defense. And
I thought you were going to use the only thing consistent is their inconsistency.
But for that reason, just because I think that although I don't think the Ravens offense is amazing at the moment, the only thing I can rely on is that I know that the Titans can't tackle, and that's going to be a concern when they're going to have to try and stop Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to take the Ravens to win and cover the spread. Kind of falls, I guess, also into my category of a good team after a loss. So I guess it checks a few marks for me. So that's who I'm going with.
I saw interesting stat that if the playoffs were cut today, the Ravens would be the last team in the AFC to squeak through, and the Titans would just miss out. So it's interesting what's happened to the Ravens because over the past couple of games, you've just seen that. I don't know. It's looking pretty bad for them at the moment if they keep continuing on the trajectory they have at the moment. But I think Eddie just touched on the point. Really, is that even though the Ravens, I think they rank like 24th on offense, they're actually pretty low in that respect. But at least they have a defense to rely on. The Titans don't. So it's a case of if the Ravens offense kind of falters, they've still got a defense behind them. Whereas if the Titans offense falters, they've got nothing to help. So for that reason, I'm going to take the Ravens. 5.5 seems fair, but I'll take the Ravens to cover.
This is tough for me because exactly what you guys are saying. The Titans defense just doesn't look like what it used to be. And what I mean by used to be was what it was when they played them in the divisional playoffs and they put up a great game plan against Lamar Jackson and, stopped Lamar Jackson and beat Baltimore. I'm hoping they can do that again. The only, I guess, upside is the Ravens don't look as good on offense as they did last year when they were in that divisional game. So I'm going to kind of call it a stalemate where the Ravens offense has decreased, but the Titans defense has also decreased. But they at least have the game plan from that game of how to shut down Jackson. So I'm hoping that they stick to it and are able to do that again. I think this is going to be a rebound game for the Titans offense. I think they're going to get back to giving it to Henry and let Henry just pound and pound and pound. And hopefully Tannehill can just be efficient and not throw in interceptions. I mean, he's been pretty efficient all year. He's only got 3 picks. So as long as they can avoid the turnovers, I think they can beat them. So I'm going to take the Titans straight up and then with the 5.5.
Next up is the Broncos. The Dolphins are the Broncos, and the Dolphins are 3.5 point favorites. The line confused me a bit. I mean, is it because it's in Denver that this seemed low? I mean, Drew Lock's out as well. The Broncos haven't really been able to piece anything offensively.
That's why, because Drew Lock's out.
Yeah. Okay. No, just kind of like adding to a multitude of reasons here. But the thing is, the Dolphins, Chua's playing pretty sensible, if not spectacular offense at the moment. But the Cardinal game showed that they don't really have to do that much and can still pull out wins. So for me, the 3.5 seemed a bit strange. I really like the Dolphins here and the 3.5 points. So I'm taking that.
3.5 seems about right to me, again, considering they are on the road. So that's them saying they're a 6.5-point favorite. I mean, also I don't know what the weather prediction is for Denver, but you do have a team that plays in Florida going to play at Mile High in altitude that they're obviously not going to be totally accustomed to in potentially not great weather conditions. So for that reason, you might be a little bit concerned. And you'd have to imagine if the weather isn't great, that might be a totally new experience for Tua, because you're talking about a Hawaiian who played college football at Alabama and who is now playing professional football in Miami. So he won't necessarily have been exposed to a lot of bad weather games. But yeah, the Dolphins are better in every aspect. So for that reason, they can be a little bit off their game. They can even be a little bit bad on one side of the ball, and I think they're still going to win this game. So I'm going to take the Dolphins, and I'm going to take them to cover the spread.
Yeah, I'll keep this short. I agree. Dolphins to win, Dolphins to cover. The two facts that I uncovered that were pretty cool is the Dolphins have the second longest win streak in the NFL right now. And, they get no respect with a 5-game win streak, which is pretty impressive. And this one I thought was really neat. For the first time in over 3 years, the Dolphins are a road favorite.
That's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. Just to touch on the weather forecast, looks okay. Not particularly warm, but sunny. So he's not going to be encountering any. I know a lot of people listen.
Well, Eddie, you should be a meteorologist. Not particularly warm, but sunny.
I mean,
thanks.
Well, look, we've already seen one spinoff of our food podcast. Maybe I'll do a daily weather report.
The weather outside is weather.
You can imagine Eddie just every time just flicking some grass in the air. Just see him.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll just flick some grass in the air and then I'll do the Chernobyl quote. Not good, not bad.
I love how you just predict everything from the grass spray. So you do that and you go, yeah, I think it's going to be sunny tomorrow.
Exactly, yeah.
You do the Mean Girls too.
I'm not as familiar with all of the quotes from Mean Girls. It's a movie I saw once when I was 14.
It's a bit of a gay. It's a bit of the hold the boob, isn't it?
Yeah. She holds her boob. It's like it's raining.
It's a bit of a gay rite of passage, that film. Most homosexual people would have watched that.
Yeah, Frank proves that point.
Yes.
Love it.
Wow.
That
turn of the head then was you were horrified.
Well, in a podcast, remember where he said he started off by talking about getting off. He then had thromping, and then he said that the Titans were going to pound and pound and pound it. So I mean, the Mean Girls
might
reference.
Have been a fourth pound in there as well.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Next up is the Jets at the Chargers. I have a point about this one is that I didn't really think about the Jets in this one. I just thought of the fact that you've got a team that's 2-7 as 10-point favorites. I mean, that worries me. I don't know what you guys think. I saw the pictures of Herbert with his new look. He looked terrifying. I would be petrified if I lined up against that.
He's gone school shooter on us.
I think he looks like he's 12.
Yeah.
He went. Yeah, he was in a trench coat. Yeah. I mean, he went from looking like some guy who was hanging out down by the beach in San Diego, to now someone who's shooting up schools in Colorado. I mean, it's quite the shift.
It's strange. It's almost like acne's come back for him as well in that photo, in that specific shot. It doesn't really make sense.
Oh, no, he looks so bad compared to... I mean, it must be really disappointing, right? Because he falls in love with good-looking quarterbacks. It's one of those things. And Herbert, this is like a 5-year-long crush. So to now see him in this form, it's got to be disappointing.
You want him to put the helmet back on, right?
I know how he feels. With the whole acne thing. So, I understand his pain. And sometimes you kind of just got to cut the hair and live with the face you were given, right?
Wait, what? He's cutting his hair because of acne? I don't get how the two correlate.
No, I'm saying it's not his fault. He has acne. He can't look better. He can't. There's nothing you can do about it.
Just going back to the game, though, for me, I'll take the Chargers to win, but I can't take the Chargers at that kind of double-digit spread. They're 2-7. They don't make a habit of winning, let alone winning like well. And yeah, so I'm going to take the Chargers to win, but I'm going to take the Jets to cover with the 10.
I'll keep this one simple. I'm going to do the same as you. I talked before about the Jaguars having the Steelers coming in and this basically being their Super Bowl game. Well, I think in the Jets' case, this is their Super Bowl game because this is their best chance at a win probably this year. So if they don't want to be the 0-16 team, they have got to beat the Chargers. So given that, I don't think they will, but I think they're going to give it a good effort. They're going to give it a grade A effort, and they're going to keep it relatively close. And 11, 10, 11, whatever, that's a lot for a 2-7 team that, has – yeah, I don't see that.
I don't get this whole theory that these terrible teams have these weird Super Bowls that they've thought up, and so that suddenly they're going to transform from terrible to decent because their dignity requires that they perform at least once a year. Obviously,
no, but come on, you don't think in the back of their heads they're thinking, listen, guys, this is our chance to win a game and not be that embarrassing 0-16.
Arguably, it's their easiest. I mean, they've got the Chargers, then they've got the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Seahawks.
This is it. I mean, this is basically it. If they lose this game, they're 0-16.
They're 0-16. Two reasons for that. One, they want to go 0-16. They might need to go 0-16. Or they can't really afford to win many games before they risk losing the overall number one pick. Then, in addition to that, I mean, if you're not, you say in the back of in their heads, they're going to be telling themselves, "This is a game we win." I mean, I think in their heads they've already booked their vacations. They're already mentally checked out. They are thinking, "Okay, guys, let's just go through the motions for a few more weeks. It's already been embarrassing enough this year. Can't get worse." So I'm going to...
Well, can get worse. They can get thromped by the Chargers.
They might want to get thromped. Maybe they enjoy it. To me, they put in their good performance against the Patriots. They then still somehow managed to blow that one. That was their only chance. I mean, how are they going to recover from kind of that disappointment? I think I'm obviously taking the Chargers to win. Doing anything else would be totally insane. And I'm going to take them to cover the spread because I'm not going to take the Jets under any circumstances.
And they had it pretty close. Well, second half aside, they had it pretty close against the Bills as well. So there's 2 games where they've kept it pretty close on tough spreads. But anyway.
What was the final score of that Bills game?
What was it, like
18-10?
Yeah, I think it was 18-10, wasn't it?
Wow.
But anyway.
I guess that qualifies that qualifies as close.
It does with this team.
Wow.
And that was a QB bad. Without acne.
But, all right. Next up is the Cowboys at the Vikings, and the Vikings are 7-point favorites.
I'll keep this one really quick. Taking the Vikings seems one of the safest picks of the week in terms of money line. I know they're one of the heavier favorites of the week. Same time, just still struggle to see what there's really to like about the Cowboys. The Vikings actually continue to look reasonably competent, even on Monday night. Their defense is pretty good. They're up against a really tough defense in the Bears, who shut down the best aspect of their game in terms of stopping the Vikings from effectively running the ball. But they have their playoff hopes are still well and truly alive. Expect them to win this. I think they'll cover the spread because I just think they'll also now be able to run the ball almost at will on this Cowboys team. And so you then throw in a very pumped up, very motivated Cousins. I mean, my Kirk Cousins IV, when they got that first down and he just ran down the field screaming. I mean, my IV was, I've not seen a flow rate like that in a long, long time.
That's a weird sentence.
I'm taking the Vikings and I'm taking the cover spread.
To be honest, I ain't got much to add to this one. Yeah, I think seven's one of those annoying ones where I'd actually rather not have the chance of the push and go 7.5. But anyway, yeah, I'm taking the Vikings into cover.
Same. Third ranked run game against the 28th ranked run defense. And they've been doing what they should be doing and not having to rely on Cousins and just give the ball. Let Dalvin cook, right? That's the new one now that the kids are saying. So I'll take the Vikings and I'll take them with the points.
Don't act like you're cool.
They had to rely on Cousins on Monday night. I mean, you got to give him slightly. Who else got them to win? I mean, you could say their defense, but
their defense, the inaptitude of the Bears' offense.
All right. Next up, good matchup is Packers at the Colts, and the Colts are 2-point favorites.
I don't really know how to go on this one. These are two teams that I think are good, but they're two teams that are kind of unreliable, and this is definitely a stay away from me. A game I'm definitely going to be watching because I think it will be entertaining because they can both put up points. Their defenses sometimes don't turn up. I mean, I think the Colts have a pretty good defense. The Packers, unsure about. I'm going to take the Colts. I don't love it. I don't like the Rivers-Rodgers matchup, but I like every other part of the Colts matching up against every other part of the Packers. And so for that reason, assuming Rivers doesn't absolutely shit the bed, I feel confident that they can win this game. But I don't think you can ever rule out Rivers just being disastrous.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at the like you said, this one was close. So I kind of let myself be driven by their stats, considering we've got a lot to go on. And at the moment, the scores, the Packers average 30.8, the Colts average 26.9. But the one so there's what, 4-point difference there when they score. But the one that really interested me was that the Colts only allowed up 19.7, and compared to Green Bay conceding 24.9. So you think, right, the Colts score about 27, Packers give up about 25. So you think the Colts are going to be around that mark. I can see the Colts defense doing more to shut out the Packers offensively. And so I'm letting myself be driven. The Colts don't allow many passing yards, and the Packers don't really use rush as their main weapon. So I think for me, this is a good one for the Colts. So I'm going Colts into cover.
Yeah, I'm with both of you guys. This is a real big toss-up. It really depends. These are two teams where it really depends on what team wants to come out and play. I think this is a game where Rodgers will be fired up. He knows this is a playoff-like game, and he loves to shine in that scenario. So for no real particular reason other than I believe Rodgers is significantly better than Rivers, I'm going to take the Packers. But as Eddie said, this is a stay-away game for me. I'll watch it, and I'll probably enjoy it, but I am not going to run the risk of either losing because of Rodgers or even worse, losing because of Rivers playing well.
All right. Next up is the Raiders Chiefs, and the Chiefs are 8-point favorites. I mean, for me, we've said quite a few times that the Chiefs, sometimes they're too good, so they don't get a reason to be fired up. I mean, surely this is one of the few reasons they have at this point to be fired up, is to kind of show that loss was a blip, and they'll remind people of that. And I think they'll be really fired up. They'll really treat this one as a showcase. And the problem is though, that the Raiders are a pretty solid, competent, and probable playoff team. So the 8 is a little bit difficult, but I'm going to take what is a really good team taking revenge and showing for the loss last time. So yeah, I'll take the Chiefs into cover.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I was going to say exactly the same thing. You know, we've kind of said the Chiefs seem to be coasting, kind of just prepping for the playoffs. Well, you have a team that came in, beat them, ruined their perfect season, and then kind of apparently disrespected them by doing a lap around the stadium with the bus, which whatever that was. I don't know how you can actually get mad about that. So I think they are 100% invested into this game. To quote Mahomes, he said, anytime you lose to anyone, the next time you play them, you want to win the football game will be ready to go. I promise you that. So any promise from Patrick Mahomes is a promise that I think he's going to keep. The actual stat that is pretty significant here is the Chiefs and Andy Reid are 18-3 after a bye. So they've had a bye to prepare for a team that pretty much ruined their season so far this year. So I'm going Chiefs to cover. I would take probably Chiefs even up to -12. And this was my survivor pick of the week.
I don't like that it was your survivor pick. I don't get you take them up to -12. I don't know how informative the Andy Reid stat after a bye is with the Chiefs because, I mean, they've been good every year since Andy Reid's been there. So, you know, you'd expect them to be good after a bye. You'd expect them to be good their record under almost any circumstances would be decent. My fear would be that the Raiders, I mean, I said to Frank during the week that the Raiders have a tendency of pushing the Chiefs close. Obviously, they beat them last time out, but then kind of looked back to the results. Before that, it was 40-9, 28-10, 35-3, 40-33, 26-15. So apart from the games where the Raiders actually outright win, the games aren't that close for the most part. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover the spread. I don't love it. I definitely don't love the spread. I'm the opposite to Frank. This Raiders team is good. And, I mean, this is important. Aside from the motivation of beating a team that they lost to, this is important for the Chiefs because if they lose this week and the Steelers win, they can basically say goodbye to the being number one seed in the AFC. So they can say goodbye to having home field throughout the playoffs. And they then also become at risk of even dropping to a 3 seed, not this week, but over the course of the remainder of the season. So I think that's motivation enough, regardless of the fact that it's kind of some kind of revenge game.
Last up is the Rams at the Bucks, and the Bucks are 4-point favorites.
So here we go. Another Tom Brady in prime time. We know they've had the issues. They're 0-3 against the spread in 3 primetime games this season. And I'm going to stick with my guns that it's because Tom Brady has gone down to Florida to retire, and this is way past his bedtime. And he's going up against a young, vibrant coach and a young, dorky, not so vibrant quarterback. I'm going to go with the Rams here. They've looked good recently, and I think they're going to keep it going. And yeah, the Bucks just don't seem to have it in these night games. So I'm going to go off of that, even though it seems pretty illogical.
I'm going to go off of something super logical, which is the moment the Rams convince people that they're reliable is the moment you have to be cautious. And the moment the Rams convince Frank that they're good is the moment you have to be extra cautious.
You could not have put that more correctly.
So for that reason, throw out all the stats, throw out everything. That reason alone, I am taking the Bucks. That's it. It's the only thing I need.
Now, real quick, where do you put them in their division?
I think they're the best team.
Do you think the Rams are the best team in their division?
I don't think that they have the highest ceiling. So I think the Seahawks are the team with the highest ceiling in that if the defense is decent and Wilson and their offense hit kind of their potential, that combined is not unbeatable, but not far off it. I think the Rams ceiling is lower than that, but I think the floor is way higher. And I think that they're just a better all-around football team. So I think they're the best team, but I don't think that necessarily means they win the division. And I don't think it means if they played each other in the playoffs that they definitely win. But I think they're the best team.
Interesting. It's the best team in that division, but you still think they'll lose to the Bucks.
I think Seattle and I think Arizona would lose to the Bucks too.
I'm interested by this one. Like the Rams played really well last time out, and they actually Russell Wilson didn't have a passing TD. I thought that was pretty impressive stat. 2 good teams. The primetime thing is interesting because wasn't the other one the last gasp against the Giants, because they're actually 1 and 2, aren't they, in the primetime slots? But it was the Giants win. So is there something in that? I think 3 games is a pretty good tell, but it's just a time, right? I'm not really overly sure, but I don't know. Maybe this is the one where I go back and get annoyed by it, but I'm going to take the Rams and I'll take them to cover. I think that's
also throw in, Super Bowl rematch for Tom Brady. Obviously, beat the Rams a couple years ago in the Super Bowl. He might feel like he's got a little bit of a point to prove because everyone went into that expecting it to be a high-scoring affair, and then it was super, super dull. And Bill
was
Belichick,
it like 15-10 or something, or 15-9?
Yeah, I don't think it was even that high necessarily. I mean, there was only 1 touchdown, right?
Yeah, in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So maybe he'll feel again. I don't put much value and much stock into this concept that these professional athletes need additional motivation to do their jobs. I think their motivation is that they want to win every week, that they get paid tons of money, and they love doing what they're doing. So I don't think Tom Brady, aside from the weird things that have motivated him his entire career, needs anything else. But maybe he feels like in the Brady versus Belichick debate, this is just that other chance for him to show that he can beat the Rams without Belichick and without the defense kind of doing all the work.
I don't know. That didn't sound like your mentality with the Jets team about these people getting seriously well paid, but
That's because they're terrible.
Yeah, but I'm not. I agree with that. But you said they've already checked out. So even with all this money,
Frank's logic would be if you stuck me in like the 100-meter final, or like none of the Olympics, but you put me into like some random 100-meter event, and I get lined up there against Usain Bolt. Like Usain Bolt's going to be like, oh come on, I've won multiple Olympic golds, world championships, I hold world records. I don't really need this one. And me, I'm going to be lined up there waiting for the starter's gun. This is my Olympic final. This is where I go. And the reality is 3 steps in, I tear my hamstring, face plant, and they go, oh yeah, should have seen that one coming.
Well, no, actually, I think if you use that logic of what you're saying, then mine makes more sense because one, the Jets aren't like a basketball team that's getting thrown into a football team. It's not like you're a sprinter in any form of any imagination right now. And the other thing is I would bet you, and I'm not saying that the Jets are going to win. I'm saying they're going to play a competitive game. And I would bet you if a decent level sprinter who maybe never is going to make it to the world stage has a race against Usain Bolt, I bet you he runs close, if not his PR, just for the pure fact that he's like, I'm in the race against Usain Bolt. This is great. Like, this is my chance to like make a name, be famous. I'm going to run like my absolute heart out. And I bet you they PR. I'm not saying he's going to beat Usain Bolt, just like I'm saying not the Jets aren't going to beat the Chargers. But I think when they can see that this is their chance, this is their only game to not be a dumpster fire of 0-16, that they're going to give it an absolute effort, as opposed to when they play a really good team like the Chiefs or something like that, they're going to say like, fuck it, we got no chance. Like, why are we even trying?
That being said, right, their season would tell you that in situations where they have less chance of winning, they perform better.
Yeah, actually, it's true. Well,
the Jets have shown the Jets have shown when, in a way, the pressure is totally, totally off them, is when they actually are okay. And by okay, I mean,
isn't that just the Bills?
The Patriots.
Actually,
well, we're a little off on the Patriots. I don't think they're a great
I
team.
would say the Bills, you can even like microcosm that game down further because they went up by, 10? And then after they went up by 10, they put 50 yards. So when the pressure was on, they put up 50 yards in a 3 quarters.
Or did they realize, hey, guys, we've given it a go. Now let's just make sure we lose.
Yes, we've shown that we can do something.
I mean, I'm just going to say, and I say this knowing full well exactly what my sprinting pedigree is, I might be more of a sprinter than the Jets are a competent football team.
I mean, absolutely not. I'm not entertaining it. I know what he's doing. He's fishing. I'm not giving him no.
Oh man, what a statement! And on that note, Week 11 picks are done.
Week 11. Go with Eddie's picks. Better run than the Jets are a team.
So I guess with week 11 wrapped up, before we get on to our fictional athletes as real people debate, might be worth just taking a look at the Premier League fixtures from this weekend, just because have a fairly big one on Saturday evening as City are playing Spurs in London, it has to be said. So interesting matchup from the standpoint. Obviously, Spurs are, in if they win this one, then you have to say they have legitimate title aspirations. And then equally, if City lose this one, then it starts to become difficult to see how they could win the title, just because the gap starts to grow between them and the other teams at the top. So, Sam, what are you thinking? What's your prediction for this weekend?
I don't think Spurs have got title aspirations for a while. I think they'd have to get through the Christmas period before I entertain that thought. But you're right about Man City. It's getting harder and harder because they're not suddenly going to win 25 games in a row from here. They're going to continue to be fairly inconsistent at points, and building up that gap will be really tough, especially considering Liverpool seem to be, I wouldn't say they're nowhere near the level they were last season, but they're pretty much still probably the best team in the Premier League at the moment. Did you see Guardiola's just signed a 2-year deal as well? And he came out saying that he wasn't close at all to leaving. But a part of me just thinks that it doesn't matter much, because ultimately if he has a failure of a season, again, they'll probably sack him. So it seems strange to me, this 2-year deal saying like, oh, I was never going to leave. It just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me looking at kind of managerial positions. It's pretty fickle at the moment. But
who would they replace him with?
Well, that's the problem. I guess, you've got like Pochettino's already there. You have the Euros as well. Usually international managers may change or come out of it. So there is that.
Who, Gareth Southgate's going to be the next Man City manager?
It's not Gareth Southgate. There are other international managers. But
honestly, I think part of the motive, I can't see City sacking him anytime in the next couple of seasons, just because I don't think there's anyone there who you'd say, well, this is his replacement. In a way, the only way that I think he could have possibly left before is if Arteta had still been in their staff and they thought that they had a ready-made replacement within there and they could have promoted Arteta to the role. Outside of that, I really don't see who could possibly take over.
There's always like Simeone is always suggested, isn't he, as like a potential Premier League incomer.
I don't see how City, with the squad that they have, could think that the right manager to take them forward is Diego Simeone, a manager who insists on making his team play defensive football where they just kick the opposition into submission. I mean, what's he going to do? Raheem Sterling's going to be transformed into some bruiser. I mean, I think on both sides, I think City will evaluate the situation, even if they don't win the title, or if they win nothing this season, and think, well, there's no one there to replace Pep with. And equally, I think Guardiola probably looked at the landscape and thought, if I'm not retiring, where else am I going?
Yeah.
His only real options are back to Bayern Munich or back to Barcelona. Bayern Munich, seemingly not an option at the moment because, they've, since the sacking at the beginning of last season, gone from strength to strength. And Barcelona,
anything but.
I mean, would you want to go back there? Would you want to take them over now? Maybe 2 years from now. Maybe he thinks now I want to go back to Barcelona with a kind of Messi-less Barcelona and prove that I wasn't just successful in Spain because I had Messi in his prime. I could understand that, but otherwise, and to touch on your other point when you said you don't think that Spurs would have serious title aspirations, if they win this weekend and say Liverpool and Leicester draw, I think if you're a Spurs supporter or if you're a Spurs player in the camp, I think you'd have to say, this is as good of a chance as we're going to have in a long, long time.
Well, I mean, when Leicester won, I think that was their chance. But, I mean, I'm only saying like 4 or 5 games. I'm not saying like, give me till the end of February, then I'll let you know. I'm basically saying, let's see what the Christmas looks like for them, which is 4 or 5 games from now. So I think this will go a long way to really seeing. I can see them Going back to the result, they're on kind of like a 4-match winning streak, I think. Man City, I don't know. I'll probably go with, I think it's a draw. I just think I think it's quite an easy one for me to say draw. Not as in I definitely think that's a score. I just can see them cancelling each other out. I can see the classic City scenario where they slowly start, Spurs take the lead, and then they grow into the game and maybe get an equaliser or something like that. It seems to be a bit of a theme with City at the moment where they start slow and ultimately it costs them any sort of victory. So I'd probably go with like a score draw in this one.
I think City will win. My reason for that is because I think Mourinho won't be able to help himself. And he's going to take an overly defensive approach in the match. And I think that's going to play into City's hands. I think if Spurs came out all guns blazing, I think they'd have a really good chance of winning this. But I feel like you'll get Mourinho reverting to type and setting a team up to stifle City rather than setting a team up to beat City. And I think that City will find their way through because fundamentally, defensively, Spurs are still not great.
Yeah, that's their weakness. Their weakness is going up front rather than stopping stuff at the back. So, I mean, the other game as well is Liverpool-Leicester. I'd go for a Liverpool win there, but Leicester are always a sucker for a surprise, aren't they? Unless you think otherwise. But
I think, yeah, I would. It's tough because Liverpool are slowly losing more and more players. I mean, I don't know if Salah is going to be available because he obviously had a positive COVID test over the international break after attending his brother's wedding. I know he got a little bit of flack. I saw a lot of stuff on social media with being like, he shouldn't be allowed to do this. He shouldn't be allowed to attend any social event. Admittedly, the videos of him dancing with large groups of people with no mask on, not a great look. But the idea
the orgy video is even worse.
The idea that he wouldn't be allowed to attend his brother's wedding seems a little bit extreme. Like he's not a slave to Liverpool Football Club. But assuming that he's missing, you just start to feel like Liverpool, more and more players unavailable. I mean, Joe Gomez is out, right? He's got a serious injury. You just start to see sort of chinks appearing in the armor. And just to throw in another racial slur for the day for me.
On a roll.
Yeah, the wops and the chinks. And I'm going to say I think that Liverpool, I stay away from this one. Interesting to watch because I think it will be a good test of where Liverpool are and equally a good test of exactly where Leicester are as well. But
I mean, outside of that, like for me personally, you've got a really nasty game for Arsenal. They're away to Leeds, and it's just a really nasty one. I can actually see Arsenal winning it. It's just one of those typical ones where they come off a good result against someone, then lose to someone else. But this time they got top thumped by Villa. So I'd like to think that they're going to come back in some way. They need to come back, actually. Because otherwise they're going to get to this really problematic phase. Like, it's okay losing to Liverpool away, losing to City away. The Villa one is like, okay, well, you kind of get one of those blips, but another one, like away to Leeds, no, you'd start to see a problem with their season at the moment. But I don't deny the direction, just a problem with the season if they continue to like have bad performances. But I can see Arsenal winning that Leeds game. It needs to be a win, simply put.
I think they'll win. I think this is actually kind of a nice matchup for them. And I think the sheen is starting to come off Leeds a little bit. I think they've done that thing that teams sometimes when they've been promoted do, which is they have a few good results and play with all the, I mean, I know that the intensity they play with is a character of their game, but I think there comes that moment where you just start to wear down a little bit and teams figure you out a little bit more. And I think this is actually a nice match for Arsenal to try and bounce back. Now, Aubameyang was held hostage over the international break, so I don't know how that will affect him.
To be fair, he's been pretty terrible since he signed the contract, so being a hostage might actually change it for the better.
Yeah, true. The interesting match for me, too, is United West Brom. Not from the perspective that it's a particularly watchable game.
I actually slightly yawned as you said that.
But this is very much for Solskjaer and for a lot of those United players, like push your chips to the middle of the table on this one. I mean, if they cannot convincingly beat West Brom, I mean, if they cannot beat West Brom, I think that could. I put it this way: I think if West Brom win, I think Solskjaer goes.
Well, it depends how soon they're playing PSG, right?
Yeah.
That's their problem. They need a big game. They don't do well against the teams that are just going to give them mundane results that they actually desperately need. They need like a high level game for Solskjaer to come out and almost turn public opinion the other way for like 5 games. But yeah, you're right. I think you do have to have a very serious conversation because Pochettino is made for that position right now. Free agent, no ties. He'll probably come in and demand a lot of things. Man U are the club that can kind of give that. I think they've got someone ready for that role. And I think going back to your Man City thing, yeah, I agree with you with the Guardiola thing is there's not really anyone ready-made. I think Pochettino is a ready-made and he could start theoretically tomorrow if they sacked him right now. So yeah, Solskjaer needs to turn this around quickly.
Pochettino makes far more sense for United, because they've been courting him for sort of what feels like nearly a decade and actually can be far off a decade. And in addition to that, he's a manager right at their level, which is he's not had a big job. He's shown that he is capable of getting good results with a good team and playing good football. But the Spurs job of a few years ago is not the equivalent of managing Manchester United. So he still doesn't have that huge job on his CV. And United aren't going to attract anyone who does have a CV like that. I mean, they're just not. So he's about right. And that can only be increasing the pressure on Solskjaer in a way, because what they must feel at United is if Pochettino does go elsewhere, then they are really in a position where who is the possible replacement? And they'll, as long as Pochettino is kind of lingering out there, they'll know, okay, this is what the plan can be. As soon as that gets removed, everything becomes far more complicated. Also interesting to see that Paul Pogba's poor performances have now moved into the France team, because for a long time he was playing well for France and playing terribly for United, but over the international break, he was also awful for France. So at least now he's brought consistency into his game.
Did you hear what he said as well? Like playing for France is like a breath of fresh air. So everyone kind of read that as a semi-dig at the fact that the situation at Man U isn't great. So he likes coming away from that setup to be a part of the France team, but it sounds like it's not helping him.
No, I mean, he also doesn't play all that often at United anyway. So just playing and starting must be nice for him. Exactly. And just, I guess, maybe one final point, just something that came up in the thought I had over the international break, because obviously watching England play and decisively beat Iceland a couple of days ago, which I don't know how much it means. I think Iceland aren't great, right? They're not going to the Euros. They're not exactly a great litmus test of how good England are. But Southgate has definitely turned this into an England team that consistently beats now teams that are less talented than them. But he struggles in situations where he's up against teams of equal or greater talent. And fundamentally, I've now reached the point, he's so negative, and I'm hopeful that at the Euros, he'll sort of unleash the youth and talent and pace within this England team. I think it's unlikely that he will do so. And it was interesting watching the differing reactions. The kind of overall, people are so critical of Southgate, even when they win, but when they don't play the way people wanted them to play, versus how people reacted to Germany getting thumped by Spain or France losing to teams they just shouldn't lose to. And the negativity in England, it makes me think, interesting question for you, Sam. Do you think that in a way England managers are hamstrung by the media and the fans, not from that the criticism impacts their job in terms of the stress level or the pressure, but that it basically forces them to make the decision that the safer option is to be more conservative and to be more defensive, knowing that if they do that, they fundamentally reduce every match to moments of extraordinary skill, incompetence, or luck. And so you're kind of basically guaranteeing almost, we'll probably get to the quarterfinals and then we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, during our lifetime, I have seen just like British media just like absolutely tear apart several iterations of this England team. And not only that, but what they do is they build them up at the same time. So they build them up massively, then do the job of tearing them apart. I mean, the Germany '06 team was probably the kind of early noughties in England, was like the best example of that. But the last World Cup, what characterized that was the feel good around the England team, was the fact that the media went in with no expectation. Southgate was going in with this kind of like bringing exactly what you said, this kind of like youth, this kind of not bothering too much or caring about a weight of expectation, just kind of playing to England's strengths. And then all of a sudden we came off that as World Cup semi-finalists, and we've started to build up the expectation again with like the Euros. I think before it was cancelled, we were favourites, or maybe even second favourites. So then you start seeing Southgate changing things formationally speaking, like he starts to play a bit more with 5 at the back, and the wing backs then don't push on as much, so it looks stale. Like the Belgium game was, I think that word probably is really fitting for it. It's stale. We do well against teams that are bad because we just dominate them possession wise and wait. But it just feels like what you're saying is that it just feels like England managers get to the point now where anything that's got like quarter in front of it is somehow a success, because it's like, oh, well, we lost to a competent team and that's the best we can hope for. Yeah, I think that the media actually have backed off England over the past couple of years until recently, because Southgate has instilled negativity on it. Yeah.
Southgate, I think he's been a slight victim of his own success, right? And in addition to that, I just think the frustration that this is such a potentially talented England team, which look happens every 10 years or so, right? As you touched on, the 2006 team had a ton of talent. When you not that we personally speak to them, but whenever you hear the players from the 2002 to 2006 era, they're stunned that they didn't win a major tournament. That they thought they had so much talent in that squad that it blows their minds in a way that they weren't able to actually get there. I think this England team runs the risk that a few years from now, many players of this generation feel that way as well. And it's a shame if Southgate wastes some of that by taking a conservative approach, because they have the potential. Look, I mean, he should almost learn in a way from 2016 that if you're exciting, 2018 even, if you're exciting, and not that they were tremendously exciting, I mean, they were basically won on set pieces in the matches, but if you bring people joy, which they brought joy by winning, if they then bring joy by playing well, I think people will be forgiving even if they end up losing, which is what happened in 2018, because they lost the semifinal to a team that was entirely beatable for them.
Yeah, the final bit of expectation, and they lose. But for me as well, that's exactly right. Like the next year's Euros, so Euro 2020, even though it's in 2021, is at Wembley. If you've got crowds, you've got momentum on your side, you've got crowds on your side, and I think
won't have crowds, Sam. Let's be real. We're not having crowds at Euro 2020.
I think there is a chance of it because of everything they're saying about vaccines. I think there's a real chance of it. But anyway, going past that, if there are crowds...
I mean, let's put it this way. If there's no crowds, then there's no Royal Ascot.
Very, very different. I mean, look, I think there'll probably be people...
But fundamentally, they're not, because in the eyes of the government, they're both sporting events, and there's going to be caps on sporting events. So either there are or there aren't.
Well, they've already said that sports... they've already said that they're considering for, like, December, letting fans back into Premier League games.
Yeah. Two differences. One would be they already granted an exception to horse racing at one point.
And then took it back.
Yes, because things got significantly worse. But I think there is much more realistic possibility that, for two reasons. One is because you can have social distancing at horse racing far more easily than you can. There might be limited capacity at Royal Ascot. I think there might be limited capacity at the Euros. But limited capacity at Royal Ascot will still mean far more people than they'll let into a football stadium.
I don't know. I don't think so, because how much can Wembley seat?
90,000.
90,000.
Okay, so let's say they do 20%.
Yep. Yeah. The only problem with international games is
there going to be that many people at Royal Ascot?
20,000 people, sure. If they use both sides of the, they open up everything. I mean, you can have people spread out much more easily. The other thing too, I think there is far more pressure to allow people to go back to racing because of the fact that I know that football at certain levels is in trouble because of a lack of fans, but racing at every level is in trouble without spectators. And so the pressure there, I mean, the UK government just gave horse racing £40 million, just promised them £40 million today or yesterday. They're going to have to continue doing that on a regular basis. Football, in a sense, can fix itself. All the problems in the lower league can be fixed by the Premier League if they want to. And as we discussed in a previous episode, the whole plan that they put in place to give 250 million or what it was to spread that out in the lower leagues, football can fix it. They just need people to be less greedy at the top level. Horse racing will rely on handouts from the government to keep going, which is an issue for the government because the gambling and the revenue that horse racing brings in is incredibly valuable for them.
I actually think England, just to wrap it up, I think England do have a shot at next year's Euros. They really do.
Just to tell you, just be brief, they're joint favourites.
And the way the draw has worked out for them is that a lot of A, it's fairly kind, but B, the route to the final is coincidentally gone through Wembley quite a lot. I think if they got to the final, something like over 50% of their games would be at Wembley. And so it's worked out so well for England, and it's set up really well for England to have a good Euros. And I mean, are they joint favourites with Belgium or France or?
Belgium and France, 3 joint favourites. And then Spain and Germany and Netherlands not far behind in the betting, but the 3 of them at the top of the market.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think it's anyone from those 3. I'd love to say England. I think they've got a real shot with this Euro. This is the best chance of winning a Euro since '96, for sure. So we all know what song characterized '96.
In the finals, they're at Wembley.
Exactly.
Yes. And now let me try one of my smooth transitions. So talking about songs that inspired a nation, maybe we can talk about TVs and films that have made sporting experiences on the big screen feel real. So with that, I know it's
not your best work.
Okay, all right, Eddie, you get that one.
Sorry, the teleprompter froze for me for a second there, so I just had to ad lib. But we're gonna have our top 5 film or TV athlete who we think, if sort of transplanted into real life with the same skills and the same personality, would be the best real life athlete.
Yes.
So
obviously you can't put in a movie based on a true story. It has to be a fictional character.
So did you hear that Sam and I discussed this briefly where he suggested
I just said of all the rugby films I can think of, there was Invictus, but obviously it is based on a true story.
Yeah.
But the point is,
we know exactly how good Francois Pienaar would have been because we got to see it in real life. Now, unfortunately, the movie version of Francois Pienaar, played by Matt Damon, a significantly shorter and smaller man, would have been a far worse rugby player.
But a severely handsome man.
Yeah.
All right. So, who wants to go first? In this?
What format are we doing? Are we all doing our 5 and then we move down? Or are we doing all 5? One person does all 5 and then we see.
I say we start at number 5 and we each work up one at a time.
Okay. Who wants to go
we all
first?
do 5, we all do 4.
That works for me. Who wants to go first?
Could you just remind me of what's acceptable here?
Anything is acceptable.
Anything. You just go try and justify it. The person could fundamentally not even be an athlete in a TV. I guess if you wanted to argue that you saw this guy throws a ball at one moment and you think that would translate it, it would be a stretch and kind of out of the description. Okay. But if you really want to go for it, go for it.
That keyword is stretch. So I'm going to leave it on that one. All right. Who wants to go first?
Well, then let's let you go first, seeing as these are going to be
number 5, not your number 1. Your number 5.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 5 is Fulton Reed from the Mighty Ducks.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, but that kid at the age of 13 has a hell of a cannon shot on him. I mean, what they call it, a slap shot. You see it when he first gets on that ice. He is absolutely smacking that net as a 13-year-old. Like, you pick up that talent at that point off the street, you cultivate it, you train him. He is going to be one of the best players the NHL ever sees.
I mean, you're right. In the Iceland game, he literally hits the shot so hard, he knocks the goalie over, and the puck goes in because it knocks the goalie over.
This is
the question.
Kid.
The question there is, does he progress, or is he like the kid in Rookie of the Year, where he's maxed out at his age and he can't hit it, he can't shoot any harder?
Maxed out as a 13-year-old kid with that power. The amount of steroids that you're taking.
Because in the second one, he matches up with like another like rough guy, I think they call themselves the Bash Brothers, right? So at that point, he's kind of already hit puberty. So you're looking at a post-puberty 13-year-old. So he doesn't have that much more. It's not like he's like 8 years old and knocking over goalies.
I'm going to say he's the Freddie Adu of ice hockey, and he's definitely he's definitely not going to be the best product of the Mighty Ducks franchise, because my number 5 also comes from the Mighty Ducks, and my pick is Adam Banks, clearly the most talented offensive player in the Mighty Ducks franchise. The only concern as to how far he can go is he able to shake his injury worries? And I'm going to say
injury prone. Injury prone.
I'm going to say as he grows into his body, as he just like gets past that, maybe overcomes some of his problems, kind of gets on some very specific physical training programs, he fulfills his potential, and he is an NHL all-time great.
Yeah. He had a air of Connor McDavid in him when he was younger, and it really sucked that he goes to represent the U.S. and he's the clear captain and would be the leading goal scorer of that tournament most likely, but then gets injured. I mean, that could have been a shot on his career in terms of the spotlight, but I think he gets another chance. He did not make my list, but he was one of my honorable mentions of one of them. The only other one from Mighty Ducks would be maybe Julie the Cat Gaffney.
Could we also give it, whilst we're on the Mighty Ducks here, could we just give a shout out to Gordon Bombay? I mean, this guy was basically doing
that's another one.
Service as a lawyer, and he took this team. I mean,
Bombay could have been a great one too, but he hurt his knee.
Well, also interesting point. You could have you're right, Sam. You could have chosen him as the best real life character, but as a coach. You could have said he has the most impact on the professional scene from a coaching perspective. Would have been hard to. I think that would have been a better pick than who you did opt for from the Mighty Ducks franchise. So, Frank,
did you know they're bringing that back, the Mighty Ducks, on Disney Plus?
As a movie or as like a TV series?
I think it's going to be a TV show.
Amazing.
Oh dear. Okay, how
could you
Frank,
be excited?
What's your 5, Frank?
Okay, my 5, I don't think either of you are going to know, but it's Neon Boudreaux, and it's from the movie Blue Chips. So I don't think either of you guys have seen Blue Chips. So basically Blue Chips was a basketball movie where it was like a really respected coach, but then his team was doing really poorly. So he wanted to go out and get like the super recruiting class, and it all centers around like the shady deals and recruiting and things like that. So Neon Boudreaux is played by Shaq in the movie. And he's literally this guy from Louisiana who can barely read or write and has never played formal basketball, but he's just a savage on the court. So they bring him in, and in his freshman year, he just dominates. It's literally a representation almost of Shaq, but even better. Every play, he's just dunking over like 3 people at a clip, and they win NCAAs, I think, as a freshman. And then there's like a whole scandal. And at the end of the movie, it says like they then drop out of college and go right to the NBA. So he's definitely my number 5 because it's basically like the second coming of Shaq, only potentially better.
I'm going to say I accept this one, but I'm going to throw a slight asterisk in here.
Because it's Shaq playing it?
When you have a professional athlete playing the role, you're basically saying we got to see it. It's close. It's not far off an actor
then that could be a lot of
life character.
That could be a lot of
my number
basketball.
1.
Yep. Is it a basketball one? I know exactly who it is then.
I'm allowing it to happen, but I'm just saying there is a definite asterisk by that.
There's a couple of things that make my number one an exception, in my opinion.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Oh, I know
Frank,
I know what Sam's number 1 is.
You want to
I'll
kick
go
off on your
4.
four?
We'll
Frank?
snake it. Yeah, we'll snake it. My number 4, this is going to be a controversial one, I think, because I only put one boxing one in there, and I went with Ivan Drago over Rocky. Why? Because this motherfucker killed someone in the ring who had beaten Rocky before. There's no way that this isn't the most powerful and strongest boxer to ever come out of the Rocky franchise, because I mean, he's literally killing people in the ring.
See, I'm
champions in the ring.
I'm going to disagree with you because my number 2 is the guy he killed.
Yeah, my number 2 is Rocky, so we're just going to go through this.
Wait, so I have
Let's just discuss this.
Hold on.
There's also other.
I have a good thing. I just want to say one thing. So I did some searches on this, and they actually had a bunch of boxing experts. They got together and they ranked the top boxers in Rocky. And the one guy, his comment on the Siberian Bull, as he's known, was the expert said that the Creed win was not as good on paper as it seemed. I don't care how good it looks on paper. He killed the guy.
Let me tell you why it's not as good on paper.
And killed him.
Let me tell you why it's not as good on paper as it seemed. And I'm going to tell you why. I guess the order is going to be a little bit thrown out of whack here. But why Apollo Creed is my number 2. Apollo Creed was unbeaten until he lost to Rocky in the rematch. His record was 46-0. You're talking there about one of the greatest boxers of all time.
You don't know who he fought, though.
He was a champion. He was fighting all comers, right? I mean, look, this is a guy who literally came out of retirement 10 years later to fight a Russian machine. You're thinking that guy was turning down, and that's the thing you have to factor in. Okay, Ivan Drago beat him when he was 42.
Eddie, he didn't beat him. He didn't beat him. He murdered him.
It was lambs to the slaughter.
And he beat a 42-year-old who hadn't fought in 10 years, who came into the ring with a 35-minute dance routine.
I mean, let's give him credit here. Bernard Langer's done nothing for 10 years and came out as a 63-year-old and beat DeChambeau.
If Bernard Langer had done a 15-minute dance routine before teeing off on the first round of the Masters, he probably would have had a stroke on his downswing. So the fact that Apollo Creed dies, or let's say he's real, died in the Ivan Drago fight, it doesn't affect his record. He is still the greatest boxer of all time, and he's the number 2 on the list. He's better than Rocky. He's better than Ivan Drago. Now, Sam, tell me your dumb idea.
So, real quick, just for the boxing experts that ranked all of them, the Siberian Express was ranked number 3, or the Siberian Bowl. Apollo Creed was ranked number 2. So he was ranked higher according to the boxing experts.
And Rocky was ranked number 1?
Rocky was ranked number 1.
Nonsense. What do experts know?
Nothing. Because I'm right.
All right, Sam, tell us why Rocky was better.
Sam, what was Rocky? What number is he on yours?
Surely we need to go back to 4. Like, I was just like, we're all talking about like our 2s at the moment, right?
Well,
that was my 4.
Yeah, I know, but okay, you can save your Rocky explanation for later. But we fundamentally accept that you're scrambling for time.
I'm not scrambling for time. I in the previous one we did for like greatest movies, I put Rocky up there because of his victory over like these people. Like you were saying that Creed is better.
All right, save it for you.
No, I got it all day now.
So,
like,
the only way with my pick,
he beat Apollo, he beat all of them. He is a comeback king, and also he does it from good positions. Like he's got a reason. He's passionate. I'm sorry, this is Rocky.
Calm down, Sam. Something about the positions I put you in. Okay, right. I'll throw out my 4 then. My 4, non-boxing, non-ice hockey, non-basketball. It's none other than Ricky Vaughn from Major League.
Really?
Yeah. The guy throws through 100 miles an hour plus in an era when that was really a sight to behold. Evolved into an incredible relief pitcher. If I could transplant him to the modern era, he'd be even more valuable in an era now where relief pitchers get used way more heavily than they did in the 90s. True. So if I can have him now, I got this guy coming in either potentially as a closer, but if not as a middle reliever to throw 2, maybe 3 crucial innings, come in, throw 100 mile an hour plus, get us out of a jam. Guy's the dominant relief pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Sam, you want to give us your number 4?
I'm going with Forrest Gump.
2-sport athlete.
Like, I mean, the guy.
Pick. Wait, actually, hold on. Which sport are you picking him for?
What, ping pong or like a punt returner? Like, I'm going to go with
ping pong or American football.
I mean, the thing is, we're just
tennis,
talking.
I guess we should say.
Actually, I'm not taking him for a particular sport. I'm taking him and the fact that he is an athlete. So he ran crazy fast. He had a crooked spine, even though he had strong legs, which I love the description. But he was incredible. What was it, Alabama he played for, wasn't it?
Yes.
He's like the Jesse Owens.
Here's the thing is, you need to tell us the sport you think Forrest Gump becomes a world's
No. See, now I can argue against this because I thought Forrest Gump too, because I think of it along the likes of Deion Sanders. Was Deion Sanders the greatest cornerback ever? No, but the fact that Deion Sanders played both football and baseball, to me, makes him an even greater athlete overall. So the fact that you can do really well in 2 sports, then I consider that, like one of the top athletes.
But two issues with this. One, you can maybe tell me from table tennis, because he showed that he could kind of semi-dominate the world of table tennis. Outside of table tennis, okay, he was really fast, but he was pure straight line speed, and he was a complete moron. So unless you tell me that he's going to be
oh man, Eddie, you are just stepping over every type of minority and everything. Oh man.
And just to add, why can't you be a good athlete but be a moron?
No, you can't. I mean, look, most of them are, but
we're definitely gonna get a lot of people on interviews.
He's on a different
we got this
level,
moron.
Right? He's a complete mouth breather. You wouldn't be able to put him to death in most states. So there's my issue with him from the athletic standpoint is it's pure straight line speed. So unless you tell me you want him to be a sprinter, and it would have to be just 100 meters, right? Because I don't think he could handle the curve
Eddie,
of the 200.
He ran across the country. He could definitely do distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but in a straight line. He ran that.
You could run across the USA in a straight line.
So now he's an ultra marathoner. Is this where he's excelling?
So he's a table tennis.
I didn't realize
table tennis. He's an ultra marathoner. He's a sprinter. He's a football player. This guy's going to play more sports than anybody.
If you can't tell me the sport he's going to dominate in, then you can't tell me, that would be like me saying I watched the Mighty Ducks, and actually one of them was the greatest swimmer you've ever seen. They just didn't show that ever.
But they do show it.
But Forrest shows it.
In 2 sports, right? So you got to tell me, is it table tennis or is it another sport where you're going to apply his athletic ability? And you got to convince me as to why the athletic ability we saw would make him amazing.
I mean, we're just adding caveats. The caveat was an athlete. He is an athlete.
No, the new caveat is we have to convince Eddie.
Yeah.
Wow. That's all I think.
He's a supreme ruler.
Thank you.
He's a war hero. That's all you need. If you want to start going against war heroes.
I don't like to call myself a war hero, Sam. I think I was just doing what anyone would have done in that situation. But you got to tell me the sport where otherwise this is just a total mental exercise, right? You got to be able to tell me Forrest Gump kick returner in the NFL, best kick returner of all time. Maybe I accept that. But if you're just telling me good all-around athlete,
I would say he's the, what if you said he's the greatest two-sport athlete in football and table tennis?
I would maybe dispute that his footballing ability would have been able to get him into the stratosphere of greatest two-sport athlete, because he would have just been a kick returner, right? He couldn't have done anything else.
Yeah, probably not.
So, but okay, I'll accept that he probably justifies a 4 spot as a two-sport athlete. That's fine, but you got to tell me it's football and table tennis. You can't just say raw athletic ability, could have done anything.
What's your next one? What are you on?
My number 3?
Yeah.
My number 3 is Johnny Utah from Point Break. Now, here I got to throw in a slight caveat of my own, which is that
what sport?
Football.
Okay.
So I'm trying to take him before the career-ending injury, and then even though that is obviously part of his story arc in the film, I want to take him before that, and I want to hope he doesn't get the injury.
So you're pulling like the Gary Bertier. Remember the Titans before he gets in that car. I want Gary Bertier right before he opens that car door.
Right up until the moment the engine switches on.
Right before the moment where he goes, "No, you man, you," and then he speeds away, and that's it.
Exactly. But yeah, that's my pick. Arguably would have been the greatest Ohio State quarterback of all time. And I think his skills might be the best all-around athlete we discuss in this top, let's call it top 15. And I think it would have been a great NFL quarterback.
My number 3 is, when we did our top 5 movies, one of my top 5 favorite movies is A League of Their Own. So I have to put the most dominant player from that movie in there, which is Dottie Henson. You have a person she was the best defensive player on the field. She had a cannon for an arm. She would dive into the stands. She was great, Gold Glove defensively, no doubt. And then offensively, she was a house. She was the only one who could consistently hit home runs. She was clutch as fuck. She never missed her opportunity, except one crucial play where she purposely dropped the ball and ruined my dreams. So I'm going to let it slide and say that if put into a real life situation, she wouldn't face her sister, who's always been number 2 behind her. So that scenario of her purposely dropping or blowing a game won't happen. And all you're getting is the amazing talent as a catcher and as a hitter, and the fact that as a catcher, she was good at calling the game as well. So I'm going to put her as my number 3.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. In the scenario, it's impossible to imagine siblings competing, in a Serena versus Williams kind of scenario, or in a world where we've just seen a Ball brother get drafted number 3 when his brother was drafted number 2 the year before. It never happens that siblings end up playing each other.
No, but in this scenario, we're taking her out of a movie and putting her into real life. We're not also taking her sister out of the movie and putting her into real life.
And look, I'm not gonna argue in a way on her.
What's the Arnold movie where he comes out of the screen and comes to real life?
The Arnold movie?
Yeah, there's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he comes like out of the screen and other characters come out and they become real life humans.
Oh, The Last Action Hero?
Yeah, that's it. Last Action Hero. This is kind of what we're doing. We're last action heroing the athletes.
Now, here, I'm not going to dispute her athletic credentials. I want to touch on one thing you said there, though. You said before she crushed your dreams.
Yeah. I mean, I love that movie, and every time I watch that movie, the ending still to this day disappoints me. Like, there's just a glimmer of hope in the back of my mind that maybe I've watched the movie wrong the first 40 times, and in this take, she holds on to that ball and wins because she deserves that win. Her sister does not deserve it. She was the best player in the league. She dominated that league. She didn't even want to be there, and she was still hitting home runs left and right, and she should have held on to that ball.
Okay, so A League of Their Own is the Houston Texans of movies for you.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, who's your number 3?
I don't think you guys are going to like it because I don't think it's a very good. Because the problem with Happy Gilmore is that the quality of it is extremely like regional and like what is it, pro-am basically what they're doing. But I wanted to give a shout out, in my opinion, to Shooter McGavin, because until things get dirty with Shooter McGavin's tactics, that guy was winning everything except the jacket. He was dominating this sport in that area. I'm going to call it that area. But the thing is, the guy was just defending the game of golf, right? He thought that the etiquette wasn't there with Happy Gilmore. He was doing everything to ensure the integrity of the game. And I think that has to appeal to something. So don't get me wrong, probably not the best golfer to come out of the game, but for his, until he starts to like buy people's houses and try to buy audience members to try and throw Happy Gilmore off his game. But yeah, I want to go Shooter McGavin for kind of that funny reason.
Look, you raise an interesting point there. In the same world in which we've had the remake of Karate Kid with Cobra Kai, where they've kind of flipped it and made the Cobra Kai characters not seem quite as bad, there's a world in which you remake the Happy Gilmore like movie, but from Shooter McGavin's perspective, and he's the good guy. Apart from the house, like the house is the only issue. But
yeah, the house is the issue.
It was a great investment.
Yeah, but from him trying to just protect the game of golf, and you could spin it that he was the good guy, and Happy Gilmore is just like the Bryson DeChambeau of that universe, and so therefore should be despised.
See now, Eddie, have you given your number 3?
Yeah, my number 3 was I gave my number 3.
Apollo Creed? No. Apollo Creed was your 4, right?
Yeah, my number 3 was it was Johnny Utah.
Oh, that's right. So my number 2 is actually Happy Gilmore. Because I think real life we're seeing Happy Gilmore in a probably same asshole-ish format in Bryson DeChambeau, but with the addition of at least another 50 to 60 yards on the drive, then you're getting to Happy Gilmore level. So you're looking at someone wrong. What?
That's where you're wrong, because I was interested in seeing whether or not where I should rank Happy Gilmore, if he should make my top 5. So I did a little bit of research, and people have done research into how far Happy Gilmore was driving. He was hitting his tee shot 340 yards, which obviously in the 90s, crazy distance. And so
it's got to be more than 340 because he drives the par 4 on holes.
In the 90s, you would have seen 340-yard par 4s.
I'm pretty sure.
But the way that the ball goes,
the way the ball goes 400
into the air like that, there's no way it's landing at 340.
Look, the thing is, you have to put it in perspective, right? 340 in his era would have been crazy. That's like 450 now. And then in addition, he was using old-fashioned clubs, right? So
that's true. So he probably is hitting at 400 right now.
You could tell me that he's hitting 450 now. I could kind of believe it. But
I'll keep it.
He is fundamentally only hitting the distances that DeChambeau is actually hitting right now in real life.
But you're right, though, with shitty clubs and shitty balls. Yeah, so I'll stick to that, even if he's only hitting 340, 350 in the show, which I still can't imagine. Because I thought, what Sam said, I thought at the range he's hitting it over 400. But he's my number 2, Happy Gilmore. And then once he learns how to putt, Happy learned how to putt. Game over.
I eat piece of shit like you for breakfast. You eat piece of shit for breakfast.
I've already said my 2, right? And I kind of gave my reasoning behind why Apollo Creed is the maybe the greatest boxer of all time. Sam, I believe Rocky was your two, so please share with us your defense.
I already gave the reasons in that passionate defense earlier, but I think he beat them all. He was the comeback guy. He was the one that when it all looked bad, when it all looked down, he pulled out of absolutely nothing and managed to come back against all of these people. And I don't think he needs to say much more.
All I'll say is he was a weirdo who was clearly fucking his robot. So he's got that going against him. But no, to me, he's the feel-good story, but he's not the better boxer.
So Rocky ended up going 58, 23, and 1.
So he's like, I've picked Floyd Mayweather, and you've picked Ricky Hatton.
Ricky.
And I've picked both the Klitschko brothers put together.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing we have to factor in. Your pick fails every drugs test now.
Oh, no. You don't think Russia can be ahead of a drug test? Come on. This guy was the embodiment of the USSR.
Frank, are Russia competing at the next Olympic Games?
Yeah, but he's got better drugs. As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, I'm fucked. Yeah.
The last few years.
As the words were coming out of my mouth, the brains was like, yeah, I'm screwed.
But yeah, I mean, he might be the greatest, but if he's in real life, he's just sitting home in Russia making YouTube videos of him punching through a bag or something, and no one cares.
All right. Number one, Frank, you want to kick us off?
I can kick it off. To me, I feel as if there's no argument against this being the number one. And that is Bobby Boucher from The Waterboy. This guy had never played any sports his entire life, steps onto the field as a 31-year-old with no athletic experience and records 16 sacks to set the NCAA record in his first game. He is killing people left and right on the field. He would be an absolute machine. My only criticism, besides the age factor, so he's not going to have a longevity in his career.
Penalties? Is it the penalties?
Is in today's NFL, he's going to get heavily penalized.
Oh, no, he plays one game and he's gone.
Penalized. But I did a little bit of research, and there's not one, but there's 3 different websites that put up a fake scouting report on Bobby Boucher as if he were going to go into the NFL. I just want to read just one of them. So this one, it goes into like size, strength, mental makeup, and it gives, like a grade and everything. So tackling 1, meaning exceptional grade. This is what the person writes. I can only put this one way. In my long, distinguished scouting career, Bobby Boucher is the meanest motherfucking hitter I've ever seen, period. He honestly makes Gary Bertier and Luther Shark LeVay, who's Lawrence Taylor in Any Given Sunday, look like Pop Warner punks. This dude obliterated his own quarterback at practice, laid out his science professor during a lecture, and has concussed somewhere in the neighborhood of 75% of the southeastern United States. If there are 3 things I know in sports for certain, blah, 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 and his number 3 is, if you ever see Bobby Boucher running at you, assume the fetal position and say your fucking prayers. And then they also have versus the run. He's exceptional. And it says, Boucher has that rare, if you're standing on the football field, no, literally anywhere on the football field, he will find you type of range that is essential for a Hall of Fame middle linebacker. Whether it's a sweep or an end around, or even if there's a guy on the bench randomly holding the ball, Boucher will get him and open up a can of whoop ass.
Yeah, I mean, you make that look. The 16 sacks kind of speak for themselves. That being said,
I mean, that was just in the one game. I couldn't find statistics as to his overall sacks for the year, but it had to be somewhere in the range of 80 sacks in a shortened season. He didn't even play the whole season.
Stupid.
Here's the thing is, though, you touched on his weakness, which is he's going to be unplayable because it's just going to be 15-yard penalty after 15-yard penalty, and he's going to get suspended and fined. So his professional career would probably be about 6 quarters.
But they would be the most amazing 6 quarters a linebacker has ever played.
Maybe, but I just don't know if someone can be number one if their professional career was going to be exceptionally limited.
I mean, if they just taught him to just avoid the helmet hits, he might be able to stay in enough in a game to at least get double-digit sacks in a game.
All right. Well, I'm going to, because I know Sam has already stated that his number one pick is going to be controversial, so I'll let him go last.
I know what
It's
his
not going to
is.
be allowed.
My number one pick is a little bit similar in a way to you, Frank, which is age might be a little bit of a factor here. I'm taking Roy Hobbs from The Natural. Now, if I could have 19-year-old Roy Hobbs before he gets shot, and so I get him full potential, that would be ideal. If I get pitching Roy Hobbs, who also develops into the hitter that he then became, greatest baseball player of all time, it's not even close. However,
Agreed.
Even if I just get him as an aging hitter, he's still incredible, still multi-year MVP. Now, hopefully, too, modern medicine means that silver bullet will not slowly kill him. And so I can drag him out till maybe 40, 45, and we get a nice career out of him.
Here's my question. Is he also bringing the bat along?
Yeah, 100%.
Is that allowed? Because we just said taking the athlete. We didn't say the athlete with his tools.
He gets his equipment.
You get your own equipment?
Yeah.
So does Bobby Boucher get the punter helmet?
If he wants it, yeah. And Happy Gilmore can still use his old clubs if he wants. He's not required.
In that case,
like
then I definitely defend my number 2 of Happy Gilmore.
He'll be like when Phil Mickelson was controversial, and because like they won the wedges and they got grandfathered in with the new wedges, and then Phil Mickelson made the switch, even though he wasn't using the wedges before. Happy Gilmore will get grandfathered in. It will be a talking point. And Hobbs' bat might be a talking point too. Doesn't matter. Now, Sam,
I never saw it.
Please let us know your number one.
Oh, come
Can
on.
I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's pretty obvious, but I want to say there's a difference.
Is it based on a real person?
Yeah.
Is it Michael Jordan from Space Jam?
Yeah, but there's one key reason why this isn't the human Michael Jordan that we all know, is that game-winning dunk, he extends his arm by a good 10 meters. Now, this isn't some real-life athlete playing in Space Jam. This is a guy who not only was the best NBA player of all time, but he's now, through training with a bunch of cartoon characters, had the ability to morph his body into 10-meter game-winning dunks. Now, if he brings that back into the real world, he's even better. So what's happened is that they've taken Michael Jordan and they've made him better in Space Jam. So I'm saying that if you take Michael Jordan's Space Jam back into the real world, he's unstoppable.
See, now on my honorable mention list, I had the Monstars, any of them, but I didn't put them in because they're not like humans, so I couldn't put them in. I think you have to be a human to live in the real world.
I also think that you have to be competing in our universe. So you've taken Michael Jordan, transported into a universe where he can do things that he otherwise couldn't do, and then claim that he's better than the original Michael Jordan. Now, the interesting thing, because it gets brought up a lot, right? His stat line from the game against the Monstars is impressive in the sense that he went 22 from 22 from the field.
Yeah, remember I made this a trivia question?
Yeah, at the same time, it's only 44 points. So it's not the most mind-blowing performance you've ever seen, and it's not even the best performance from a point-scoring perspective that Jordan had in his career. It's not even close. And I just feel like I'm going to disagree with you, even with his stretching arms. He only had 24 points. He only had 24
but he
points
can't stretch the arms on Earth. He can only stretch the arms in that land, right? In Looney Tunes land or whatever it is.
It's a terrible pick. You've just picked Michael Jordan. I mean, that's fundamentally what you've done.
So another similar one I thought of was Teen Wolf. So if you ever watch Teen Wolf play, he dominates the court when he's the wolf. He's just all over the place.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to take Jesus Shuttleworth, but then I didn't because of the fact
It's Ray Allen.
that it's Ray Allen. So is he just Ray Allen? And then also the fact that it would put an asterisk by it because I'm just getting to pick Ray Allen.
Yeah. Some of my other ones that I had kind of thought of was Ernie McCracken, one hell of a bowler. And then Roy Munson even comes back and he still beats him. So that's a decent one. He was winning. Okay, not going to go sport. Okay. How about Jean Girard from Talladega Nights? Not only was he like the most decorated Formula One racer, he then comes and just dominates NASCAR and wins like 10 straight races.
Decent argument.
And then the other one I had was Harry Potter, but is Quidditch a sport? Because Harry Potter, as a first year, came on and was dominant as a first year. He would have eventually made it to the pros if he wanted to do that as his career, but he chooses not to in the end.
I mean, Harry Potter is ridiculous. That would be like me picking Luke Skywalker or Anakin Skywalker as.
But they don't play sports.
Pod racing.
They do the pod racing.
Oh, they do the pod racing. You're right.
I mean, that's actually
he was a good pod racer.
And he's like what, a 5-year-old, 6-year-old?
No,
that's pretty impressive.
I think the other was like 8 or
He's
9.
probably 8. Yeah, 8 or 9, but still.
Oh, sorry. Okay, is it that 3 or 4 year gap that really turns you into a pod
Actually, you know what?
racer?
Based on the fact
a
that
5-year-old to a 9-year-old is a big difference.
The fact that you're now all throwing out people in mythical universes.
Or you do Gladiator?
No. No, that would have been a good pick too.
Hey, if Gladiator was your number one movie, why isn't he your number one fighter or athlete?
Well, he might be my number one fighter. It's just I'm not sure how well Russell Crowe would translate into a professional athlete. Now,
UFC?
Here's the thing. Oh yeah, probably. But he can't bring a sword or a chariot. I'm taking Anakin Skywalker then, because he also has the fucking Force. So if we're allowing this to go, you've just ruined the entire game. Well, obviously Anakin Skywalker would dominate.
No. Hang on. No. Is he a better Force wielder or a pod racer? Can't be both. You didn't let me have Forrest Gump both.
But he could do pod racing with the Force.
He can do everything.
But here's the difference, Eddie.
Basketball controls the basketball with the Force. Baseball controls the baseball with the Force. Golf. Oh, you think Happy Gilmore can hit it a long way? Watch it until he has it orbit the Earth 9 times and then drops in the hole.
So wait, are you picking Anakin or, spoiler alert, Darth Vader?
Oh, exactly. You ruined it for some people there, Sam.
So are you picking the light side of the Force or the dark side to wield in sports?
My argument against that, Eddie, is people do play Quidditch now.
Yeah, and it's the saddest thing I've ever seen.
They don't.
People.
What's more
play Quidditch?
Sam, what's more sad? People playing Quidditch or someone on land rollers?
The fact that they're playing a game where you're meant to hover on brooms but don't is really sad. So I'm going to give Eddie the reprieve.
No, look, my land roller period, not my proudest. But to even compare it to a bunch of losers skipping around in a field with a broom between their legs, pretending that they're doing something, all of whom are probably just massive dorks at liberal arts schools who've never played a sport in their lives before they got to kind of LARP as their favorite character from a children's book. Not even comparable to at least the requirement for balance from the land rollers.
You need balance on a broom.
Nothing is sadder than seeing those muddy losers pretending to play a sport that doesn't exist.
But it does exist.
All right, so just to recap.
Racing, sometimes I sit in my couch and pretend I'm pod racing. And I'm the greatest pod racer of all time.
No, okay. But they have transferred Quidditch into a real life game. They haven't transferred pod racing.
Not yet, Sam. Not yet, Sam.
Sam, go and watch a video and tell me that they have transferred Quidditch into real life.
It's in the movie The Internship. It's in the movie The Internship with Vince Vaughn. The movie with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. They play it. It's so pathetic. All right, Eddie. So just to recap, give us your top 5 from 1 to 5.
Oh, I've got it. Really? I got to do this quickly. My number 5 was Adam Banks. My number 4 was Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn. My number 3 was Johnny Utah. My number 2 was Apollo Creed. And my number 1 was Roy Hobbs.
Okay. And then mine was number 5, Neon Boudreaux. Number 4, Yvonne Drago. Number 3, Dottie Henson. Number 2, Happy Gilmore. And number 1, Bobby Boucher. Sam?
On my clay, Fulton Reed, Forrest Gump, Shooter McGavin, Rocky Balboa, and extraterrestrial Michael.
Extraterrestrial Michael Jordan.
Good point, actually. You know what? E.T. would have been the greatest cyclist of all time, would have dominated the Tour de France. I'm taking E.T. You thought Lance Armstrong was pretty good on 2 wheels? You should have seen E.T.
Tour de France with a basket on front of the...
It's not a real argument until Eddie just starts getting aggressive and unrealistic in his arguments.
He's just gone down the slope now, isn't he?
He's in the Eddie slope. He's going to be doing this for days. We're going to end this podcast and he's still going to be doing it.
That is my lasting memory now for a long time. It's just like watching like someone like doing a time trial, head down, really intently going down the road, and then someone just coming along in like a normal bike with a basket on the front.
Well, think about it. E.T.'s head is basically the shape of the helmets that they use in time trialing.
So aerodynamic.
Yeah. I mean, his wrinkly skin and stuff, maybe not that aerodynamic. The shape is there.
Oh, boy.
And also think if they design a bike actually for him, take him out of the basket, put him in a bike of his own, he'd be so low to the ground. You throw in that aerodynamics and then the speed, the ability to just take off. I mean, you think, oh, how am I going to get up this mountain in the Alps? How am I going to do this? He just literally flies up to the top and it's over.
But he can't do like a straight line fly, can he? He still has to follow the road, which could be hilarious watching this hovering bike ahead of you, still following the road around.
Yeah, that's fine. You'd win. Easy.
Oh, that's great. Well, real quick, let's just wrap up with our picks of the week. Eddie, can you update with how much we have left so I know how much I can actually bet
I'm all in for this one.
I think you're not allowed to go all in.
You're not allowed to go all in.
You've got at least 3 weeks left of bets. Let's say it that way. Because otherwise it's just silly because you go all in and you're either out or you win and you'll be potentially winning the competition. So
you don't want me to win, is what you're saying?
Not that way. Just by rolling in the same way that I can't just go all in. Yes, I am. Well, casinos have rules, Sam. This one has a rule.
You're not the house.
I'm the one staring at the spreadsheet.
Hey, you've got to give up your stake if you're the house.
Okay. I could give up my stake and still win. That's the reality. I'm in the lead with 93,900. So I'm 6,100 down so far, and I'm winning. Frank, you're in second place with 60,000. So you're 40,000 down.
Okay.
And Sam is down to 35,000.
Okay. I've got mine all lined up.
Yeah, I got mine lined up too.
All right.
What do you have, Frank?
I don't know the exact odds, so if you can look this up for me.
Yeah, which sports?
Okay, so it's just a single bet. I'm going Villa to win and over 2.5 goals. So Aston Villa are playing Brighton. Last year, that was the most shots in a match in the entire Premier League at 44. And right now, Villa is pretty hot with scoring chances. They have more chances per game than any other team. And then on top of that, you have my boy Grealish coming off a really good match. He was man of the match against Iceland in his international, not debut, but this whole run has been his debut in the past few months. since he's been added to the international squad. So he's going to be feeling good about it. I think he's going to come back. They're going to set a good tone. I think they'll win, and I think it's definitely going to be over 2.5.
That is 3.4.
I'll take it. 3.4. I like that. It's actually a really nice bet.
So what was your stake?
20,000.
Okay. Sam, do you have your bet in mind?
So I'm not allowed all in.
No.
No, because you need to at least have something left. Like you have to at least leave 10,000 left.
All right, I'll tell you what, I'll do 15K on this. So I will do just straight up wins for England and rugby to beat Ireland, the Steelers to win, the Chargers to win, the Vikings to win, and the Chiefs to win. And it pays 1.79.
Wow, you mocked me a week ago for having my conservative accumulators, and then you have taken a page right out of my book.
Well, in fairness, the idea was that 1.79 would get me up to about 100K. But
all right,
not allowed all in, so I'll take 15 on it.
Okay, well, mine is going to be not too dissimilar to what you have done. I'm going to take the Saints to win, the Steelers to win, the Chargers to win, and the Chiefs to win. And that pays 2.75. And I'm going to stick 23,900 on it.
Nice. All right. Well, Sam and I need some wins in this, so hopefully we can get back into not the green, obviously, but less red.
Just need a win.
All right, boys. Well, with that, I think we should say goodnight, and then we'll see how they do. Get you ready to watch a nice Thursday night football game.
Yep. See ya.
All right, talk to you later.
Cheerio.